yes, welcome back to another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. It's episode 184, and we are mere hours away from the Royal Rumble. But we'll be talking about that in due course. My name is Owen. I am your Sharp Break Kid, and along with me tonight is the one and only modern-day Maharaja Matthew.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's just the two of us tonight. Our predictions champion Duncan is not with us once again. I think there's gonna have to be a rule put in place about that predictions champion.
I lost the title once to you guys because I was on the road and I couldn't show up quite a few times, and I missed, I think, an NXT, which we kind of did sometimes for maybe their bigger ones. You guys did strip me.
I stripped you of the belt once before. I think we might have to be. There's no commissioner here at ONW. It's a collective commission, but the collective commission might have to vote on whether or not this belt needs to stay in Duncan's hands if he's not on the show ever. But I digress. Let's switch our gears to more of the wrestling, the wider wrestling world. It's not just about us, Matthew. Of course not. It's about the wider wrestling world, which, on a serious note, feels like one of those times that I'm sort of proud to be a wrestling fan over periods of this past week. Of course, I'm sort of commentating on the response to Jay Briscoe, Jamie Pugh's passing, and how it was sort of eventually, and I will preface all of this with an eventually, how it was eventually handled. But let's not talk about the companies right away. Again, let's talk about the outpouring of support and the way of wrestling, and even a very evil, snarky, twisted, hard to tolerate internet wrestling community it can be sometimes, even how that community came together in the best possible way to, not only raise money, but for the family, but just to honor his legacy in a way that I think that he would have been very satisfied with, very proud, and should have been, would you agree? Are you seeing the same things I'm seeing?
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing the same things you're seeing. And I think that, the way everybody got behind it saying, they wanted this show, and then the way Tony fought apparently for this to happen, still, Warner Brothers Discovery is still kind of shitty. I guess we will talk about those things later, but the fan support, amazing. The wrestling, the wrestlers, just everyone involved in the community, it was amazing. And I think they did him right. That promo package, that video package, it really pulled at the heartstrings, man. And it really just showed. And I think this is why everyone was so behind him. Same way everyone was so behind Brody, is you got to see. I need to watch that package back, but I don't remember a ton of wrestling, if any, in it. I think it was like
There was some.
all him and his kids. Well, and if there were, it was like them and FTR at the end of the match. Like a lot of it was like end of match type stuff.
Yeah, it was. They might have showed a Jay Drilla in there or something, but it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't a ton of like retrospective of. Yeah, it was about the man. It wasn't about the wrestler. It was about Jamie, really not Jay, in a lot of ways.
Exactly, and showed how just good-hearted and family man, and like the type of man who takes care of his people.
Those clips where he's dancing with like his like little girl's like bow in his hair, like doing like the cheerleading dance or whatever with with her. And like, this guy was clearly a good family.
I was sitting
man.
there in tears during it. I won't lie.
Oh, yeah. I there's a couple of moments like this past week. My brother, not super familiar with Ring of Honor or the Briscoes, for instance. Like I said, I wasn't. I'm not. I've been binge watching a ton over this past week of of older Briscoe matches. But my brother, called me after he passed, and he was even feeling that outpouring of like support from the like proud to be a wrestling fan in a weird way, like that, like something hit our community. And even if you didn't know him, even if you weren't super familiar with him, it felt like a bullet to all of us. Like, I'm in pain because you're in pain, because you're in pain, because you know what I mean? Like it's all of us collectively have felt that. The I think the first time that absolutely got me was, and I don't listen to him often, but I knew of his previous experience and his closeness to the Briscoes, and it's Cornette. And I had to, had to hear it. And that was an incredibly hard listen, and not for the usual Cornette reasons. It was an incredibly hard listen because very rarely will you hear that man ever crack. And as far as being emotional like that, right? He's known for his piss and vinegar. He's known as, corny, and there's a reason. So like when you hear it, it absolutely, like, I don't know, like you're just not expecting it, I guess. So it completely, like, I don't know. It shook me. It absolutely shook me hearing Cornette being that real, being that, like, human is the best way to put it. And again, like, that was an education to me, how much he worked with them in the past and with his tag team experience and his Ring of Honor experience. Very interesting perspective. Even if you don't like Cornette, I encourage you to listen to that first show after he passes. I mean, it's very obviously labeled, but not without, some tissues next to you. It might give you, all I'm saying is it might give you a slightly more realistic of understanding of who Jim Cornette is as well. And sometimes we all need to realize that even though we might have a distaste for a person, and I don't know that Jim's,
I don't know how much of that's a work and a gimmick or not.
And I think a lot of it is. I really, really do. He said some questionable things, but, and I'm not going to sit here and defend him, but I know a lot of other people that have said way more questionable things or done more questionable things, and they're on TV every week. And Darby Allin, Jay Lethal. I mean, there's a very long list. Let's just be real. So to completely discount anything Cornette says is stupid. He's a brilliant wrestling mind, and I just that's one of the first times that, like, it got me with the Jay stuff. Hearing that, but again, yeah, tremendous.
Also, can we just not lose this point, and we don't need to go into any of it with what you were just saying. Also, Jay went through something similar. He made some remarks that followed him for a long time. And I think that, and this is for another conversation, another podcast, but like, I think that, Jay did go and do the sensitivity training and like was very adamant about apologizing and then working with the community to make sure, and like learning from that experience. And for those types of things to then have held
him back
from being able to be in AEW and or be on TV in AEW in any way, and this hard of a push, you do have to believe that people
can change for the better,
and they are changed, and it's, and they don't just have to, they can't just say it, right? Like saying I'm sorry or something. But if you go through and you actually commit to, and it's not even just that sensitivity train, right? Then working with that community and really understanding and integrating, that's you bettering yourself from that situation. And I think those types of things should be recognized as being better than maybe what was said, right? Because now you're bringing an awareness, and I think that it was so sad that it was lost. But you've talked about other people and such, and good, bad, ugly, whatever. I think we do have to understand people can grow, and Jay was a big person to do that, and I
Absolutely.
think prove that and show that.
I think he would go out of his way to, like, countless people have said this. Like, he would go out of his way to try and turn that not only narrative around, but make sure that people maybe that were gay that he was working with felt comfortable, and that he would apologize, and he would go out of his way in situations to make sure that they knew that, he did not stand by the remarks that he made when he was younger. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, I'm not sure you're getting that from Cornette by any means, but
No, I know,
but
I know, but I thought as the concept as a whole,
yeah,
Jay
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of like
absolutely.
he's a great example of that. So I felt that we should just highlight it.
Well, and it kind of brings us perfectly to the next point, because and now we've learned a little bit more about it. I kind of understand why. I think we all sort of understood at the time. So Jay died on the Monday, right? So 2 days before, of course, Wednesday's Dynamite. That Wednesday's Dynamite had very, very, very little, almost nothing of tribute to Jay Briscoe. There was
You had armbands, and I
armbands
think
and a line on commentary.
Excalibur,
Yeah,
near the
Excalibur.
end,
Michael Cole, I believe, referenced him on SmackDown a couple days later, and I think that even the WWE, like, wait, no, I think they did. They might have done something. I think they did something on NXT. Sorry, I don't watch NXT. I know they did something on NXT. I know they flashed a graphic. I don't think they did a 10 bell.
yeah. I think they flashed a graphic.
They
From what I
flashed a graphic,
remember. I didn't watch it, but I read.
but that's saying something. And I almost, yeah, and AEW flashed a graphic too, but what AEW did on that first Dynamite was so little compared to what I felt like it deserved. Now, we then heard very quickly that Tony was working on a full Ring of Honor, like, episode tribute show. That softened the blow a little bit. But then we got this past week's Dynamite, which made up for it altogether. That's the way I look at it. Like, they were able to right the wrong. And it does very much seem,
sorry, go ahead.
No, it does very much seem that the original, that first episode, or after his death, they probably wanted to do a lot more, and their hands were tied because of Warner Brothers Discovery's sort of like decision, and just they were adamant that the Briscoes were not allowed on television, basically. Like, either one of them, even though Mark had nothing to do with, with Jay's comments, by the way. They guilty by association, brothers, all that type of stuff. And then there's one little bit of information that came out today that makes it click even more. And I'm not saying it's right what they did to hold back completely and to be so stern, but they are very anti having wrestlers wearing Confederate flag garb. And that is a reason, like, that to me, and that's something they've been doing up until very, very even recently. So I feel like that was a line in the sand that Warner Brothers made. And I think that literally it sounds like that might have been had to be part of the deal with Tony Khan. Well, what if I just never let them wear that on the show type deal? Like, never going to happen.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably I think that's probably part of the deal. But what are your thoughts on it all?
Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't read or heard that about the Confederate flag gear, but it would make sense.
That was only like in the last few hours today. So yeah,
Okay.
before the
So I
show.
hadn't heard that, but I mean that would make sense. I just hope that they're not using it as the main crutch to kind of make themselves look better
I
in
think
the
that's exactly
media,
what
right?
they're doing.
Like they're spinning it.
I think that's exactly what they're doing. But at least
Well,
they got Mark on TV, right? They like, and
well, they did.
the ban is lifted supposedly.
Well, yeah. So I want to touch on that in a second because
Of course,
apparently
we have
there's
to,
rumors
right?
that we're good, that like Mark's going to be able to wrestle now on
Yeah.
AEW TV.
I think that's more than rumors.
So,
I think that's going to happen.
yeah.
Which is also hypocritical because they can see the money in that too, Warner Brothers.
Exactly. But I also don't think you would have gotten Mark there the Wednesday prior. So I wanted to say
That's
that
totally
first
fair.
before we got into that.
Oh, that is totally fair.
I think it was too soon, even though I think this was very soon. I think
this was way too soon. This was way too
but
soon. Way too soon.
But I know, I didn't think he was going to get back and do that for a while, but to be able to have him now on TV, that's a whole other conversation. But I think that it's a good thing, obviously, for him if that's what he wants to do. But then it's questions. Okay, what do you do with the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, right? And I forget where I saw it or heard it, but I, if I remember, I'll say it. But I liked what it was, and I started thinking about it. I was like, this could be good. Whoever it was wrote or said, retire those titles, right, as the Briscoes titles. Bring back and then get new tag titles, but don't call them Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Just call them Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Right. And the Briscoes are the last to hold the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. And in that, and I think, I don't know, I kind of felt like that was
even before Jay's death. Even before Jay's death, they almost deserved that honor. Does that, like they
with what, 9 times or something? Yeah.
I think it's even more than that if you look at it, but whatever. It's up. Doesn't matter.
But that would be a good way to do it. And
I like that.
Let Jay keep, let Mark keep it, keep his brother's title. And yeah, I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to do it. I've got other weird little theories that will tie in later on to the episode if we get around to it.
Who would you like to see Mark wrestle?
Oh, I think Mark will want a bit of a singles run with guys he knows really well. So an Adam Cole eventually. I think they're Adam Cole's face right now, so I think you got to pair him with some heels. Mark's gonna be hard to boo, so even though we can work either way, of course, but he's gonna be hard to boo. Maybe like even a Samoa Joe,
put him fucking up for the Ring of Honor title with fucking Claudio.
Yes. I think that would be great. I think that he could absolutely challenge for that belt, and it would be, and you can do an honor match with it as well. Yeah, because both of them can be faces, have a straight up honor match like for that belt, and he might not get it this time, but he'll come so close. And I know Jay held the Ring of Honor World title at least twice.
Yeah,
I don't believe Mark has held it. I think he's held something else, but I don't think he's ever held the world title. So that would be a really cool direction for them to go in. And again, maybe not right away, but build him, to do it for Jay and all that. But then again, you could strike while the iron's hot. I just don't want to see Claudio have to lose it again so soon.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want him to keep it for a little bit, just a little. Come on, give Claudio some love. I also think they have other plans with that, and I'm gonna get again. This might all this might actually all work really well together with that Mark idea. But I'll be talking about that in just a second. But let's just finish up, of course, on that tribute show that they had with the Dynamite tribute, tribute show.
Jay Lethal, I did want to bring this up. Man,
that's exactly
him just
what
starting to walk to the ring, it was fucking heartbreaking. Fucking heartbreaking. Good on him. Also, did you see him like when Mark came out? And I think I was expecting to see more sadness from Mark, but I think
he powered through that.
I think he powered through it, but I think he's like, my brother would want me to fucking fight, like go out there and fucking do this. And I think that's that energy that he took.
Man up,
just fucking man up and fucking go. But man, Jay, so when they got in the ring right before they're about to, and you could see Jay just looking at him and tearing up, and like he was saying something, I'm sure, like I'm sorry, or whatever.
I'm not making fun of him, by the way, but his lip was almost. I'm
not making fun of me.
His lip was almost quivering. It was that like it was.
And dude, I would have been fucking bawling in the middle of that ring. I can't imagine. Sure,
Yeah.
And so him doing that, but then the way that Lethal then, when they were like, let's go. And I think, he said something to Mark. I think Mark said something to him, but his lip, like you said, was quivering. You could see his eyes too. And then did you see Lethal just kind of jump up and down and kind of try and shake it off?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
He like physically tried to shake, like, let's fucking, he was like,
I do that shit. Get yourself together. Yeah. All right. Come on. Get yourself there's, I'm sure it like pumps the blood a little bit and gets your, gets your thinking something else. And no, I saw him doing all that. There was a moment even in the match where it looked like Mark was maybe on the verge of kind of starting to break. And it seemed like he said something to Jay, but he's like, slap me really hard right now. Basically, like, get me the fuck out of this, slap me really hard. And you could tell that Jay and him had an understanding that Jay was like, I'm just like, I know I'm the heel and you're the face in this match, but I'm not going to guide this match. You just do whatever the fuck you want, and I'll just feed for you, whatever. I'll be there. I'll hit any move that you need. I'll do whatever. You could tell they called it as much on the fly. Jay was he was a body for whatever Mark wanted to kind of do in a match.
And someone that Mark could trust.
Yep. Absolutely.
That he knew was going to do the work and be there, and they were going to.
And it was a great match. It was flawless. Really,
it was a great match.
It was a great match. Yeah. I think
we were in the Discord chatting all night prior to that, and then I actually put my phone down just to watch it. And when I picked it back up afterwards, I saw that there was like 2 or 3 messages, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I was just so absorbed in it.
But that's how all of us felt. Like I didn't, I was the same way. It's like, no, this. You pay attention to certain things like that. And there was a moment too with the ref. I forget which one it was. I think it was it Paul? It was Paul something or other, the AEW.
Paul Turner?
Paul Turner. It was Paul Turner, I believe. And there was a moment where he was actually like, he was stopping, like in the rules of kayfabe wrestling or whatever, he was stopping Mark from doing something. And Mark's just like, no, I'm actually just gonna do that. And the ref was just like, whatever, just do whatever. Like,
I'm not do whatever.
I'm not stopping you. I'm like, whatever. And it was one of those for everyone. And it was fine. It did exactly. Seeing him with those 2 belts was great. The having the roster come out to the ramp.
The roster come out, yeah.
And this ties into something else that really got me, and that was seeing Dalton Castle's face in absolute tears. And of course they were very close because of Ring of Honor and being together for so long. Dalton's talked at length about Jay now, and it was so surreal because you saw him and we didn't even get a chance to talk about
Yeah, we
this.
didn't even talk about that.
You went to Lucha Laughs and what is it?
Lucha Libre and Laughs.
Lucha Libre and
Triple L.
Laughs, Triple L. And does that only exist in Denver, or is that a touring thing?
No, I think it's only in Denver.
Only in Denver.
So it's typically once a month, but I think now because of the pandemic, I think it's a little further out. So like the next one's not till the beginning of April.
Is it like at a bar, nightclub type thing, or?
There's a really smaller venue called the Oriental Theater, over kind of outside the Highlands a little bit. And I mean, it's got a balcony and everything, but it's a venue. I don't know. I think whatever. I think what did I see on the bill?
Small concert vending.
Newfound Glory. That's the next concert. Yeah, there you go.
It'd be like the Beach Chum or something here in Orlando. Very similar to that.
So they put the ring. So what's cool is they put the ring on the stage, and then they have like a bunch of seats out front and everything like that. And they utilize the stage and that extra height and everything like that, which is cool. But what happens is they have two main comedian guys who actually run it, and they sit there. They're the commentators, right? So the commentary you can hear the entire night as you're sitting there drinking and watching so they're like making jokes and things like that. In between the matches, they have like local stand-up comedians, and then they typically have like one or two like mid-touring, mid-high tier touring comedians come in and do. So they do sets. They do like a quick 5, like a tight 5 or something like that in between each match. But then that stand-up comedian goes and is the third on commentary for that next match.
Oh, fun.
So they're like making jokes and stuff like that while there's wrestling happening. Yeah,
and you've been to a bunch of these, I know, but this literally
man. I've seen fucking Orange Cassidy there. I mean, the amount of people that we've seen there has been fucking. I mean, it's really really cool. I mean, fuck, I'm not Joey Ryan. God damn it.
I know.
But we've seen a bunch of really cool people. Dalton Castle was there. This was last Friday, actually. Yeah, this was last Friday.
That's what I'm saying. Just before it kind of all happened and
happened. Yeah.
It's
before that. So it was it's crazy. Dalton Castle was there. The boys were there. It was a really funny match. Like some of the spots that he did this thing where like Dak Draper took him and like rolled him into the ring from the outside. And he like rolled to the middle, and then it was kind of like he like hit the apex and gained momentum, and then rolled all the way out. And then Dak Draper like went over to the other side, grabbed him, threw him back into the ring, and like he rolled all the way to the other side.
I've seen him do
Dak
that.
Draper,
it's a good spot.
He threw him in like at half like strength, and he like rolled into the middle, and then like rolled halfway between the middle and the end, and then and then it just kept getting tighter and tighter and tighter the whole way through. But they took it up to the rafters, up to the balcony, and then brought it back down. And they're selling out every single time here, which I think is great.
Oh wow!
And there's wrestlers that are on Dark and things like that, because Rocky Mountain Pro is obviously a wrestling organization promotion here in Denver.
Yeah, it's a pretty established indie like out there. Like
that's where Abaddon came from.
Yep.
And so I will say that
there was somebody else on the AEW roster that's from Rocky Mountain.
There is. Matt Sydal was on that for a while.
Was he?
Both the Sydal brothers
was
while.
Peter Avalon in there for a while?
I don't know.
I'm sure he had a coffee cup or whatever.
I'm sure he was. Yeah. So they actually their new training facility and where they do their Twitch every Thursday night is in Englewood in South Denver, where I live. I live in Englewood.
Oh, nice.
So I think I might go over and check out some tapings.
Absolutely.
Every now and then that it's over there. But I will say I'm not going to put all my hopes in it anymore, because they just got Vince Russo again as their head because he lives here.
He does do that. That being said, all in all, I haven't finished the Ring of Honor tribute to Jay yet. I watched the first like hour or 45 minutes, and I don't know if you've seen it yet, any of it.
I didn't. Last night I actually watched
Did you watch the Misawa match I sent you?
yeah, what, Masawa and was Kawada?
Kawada, yeah, Misawa Kawada
Yeah,
from what
yeah.
93, something like that.
Fuck. Yeah,
93,
that how
90.
bad is it that I think Apple is a problem. Siri has a problem. It does say Kawada like in my other notes. The first one says Kawasaki.
Oh, Apple's
Little
your
racist,
phone's
Siri.
racist. Your phone's racist.
Little racist, Siri. Not sure I agree with
Yeah,
that.
no, absolutely not. That's
Um,
intense.
Sorry. So talk about the J thing,
No,
but I
yeah,
do want to talk about this match at
yeah,
some
yeah,
point.
yeah. We absolutely will talk about this match. But yes, the J thing. I was just gonna say like, um, shit. No, now I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, you were saying that you watched the first
Oh,
hour,
the
hour
first
and a
little
half.
bit. Yeah. So, man, like it's kind of cool the way they did it because they had like old matches of Jays, some new Ring of Honor matches, and then interspliced with interviews, testimonials, obituaries, whatever the hell you want to call them, sit downs with one-on-one with people that knew him. And the first one's from Samoa Joe. And it's kind of like the Cornette deal, man, where you're not supposed to see Samoa Joe cry.
Dude, Joe also
Um,
at the top of the ramp.
yeah,
So Jay was getting some hugs when he first came up,
yeah.
and
Well, Mark,
then or sorry, Mark was, um and you could see Joe was next in line, and then Mark turned around because of the
yeah,
cameras because he was
yeah,
being
he was about
camera
to go,
aware.
and then
It-
he missed
Dude,
his.
but I will say that Joe did the best transition. He went from like this
To
to
just
like
and then or yeah, yeah, yeah,
clapping
yeah.
and just to the clap with like the biggest smile on his face. And I never wanted to give Samoa Joe as big of a hug as I did at that moment. So
Yeah.
I'm sure
Well,
it's heartbreaking to talk about or
you'll
see
see
what you're
it.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah. You'll when you eventually do watch it, you'll see it, and that'll pull on your
tomorrow before Rumble.
heartstrings. The Adam Cole's followed right after him. And then they go into a Jay Adam Cole match for a final battle from 20, I don't know, 16. I know it's got to be earlier than that probably. It's probably not long before Cole made it to NXT and all that. But either way, it was it's a crazy match that they put on there. That's about as far as I've made. At the time, Jay is the ROH World Champion. Adam Cole is challenging for it, and it's a no honor match, right? So it's basically their like grudge match,
Whatever it is, yeah.
DQ, no, yeah.
Anything goes, no DQ.
And it shows like the video packages of Cole just being an absolute fucking prick to Jay and his family, and super kicking Jay's dad and like Papa Briscoe, all that, and so it's good too because I think it will help educate the people like myself that aren't super Ring of Honor literate. I don't know. Like I've seen a ton of Ring of Honor matches, but I've just seen them as matches on YouTube, one-offs, whatever. I've never seen a lot of stuff in the context of feuds and the builds and
Of the storylines and everything. And so you're a lot like I am.
Yeah.
And I've gone with Duncan. Duncan had me down in Houston, and we went to another Ring of Honor somewhere. But yeah, I've gone to some shows, and I've watched some of the bigger
I know a lot of the talent, and I know
a lot of the talent because I do watch the matches, but they're a la carte for me, like you're saying. It's not necessarily I'm not fully involved in the storyline. Like I rely on the video package prior to the match to bring me up to speed, right?
For sure. But all in all, again, turning a wrong into a right. They're doing a fantastic job of honoring Jay. They have done a fantastic job. TK pulled it out in the end. Everything on that show was paced perfectly. It should have been the main event. I was calling for it to fucking open the show. How wrong I now believe I am. They did everything right. And it wasn't the best Dynamite, but it didn't matter. It honored him correctly. It simultaneously put on a good Dynamite, and again, not the greatest, without the J Memoriam getting in the way of a good Dynamite, and without a good Dynamite getting in the way of the J Memoriam. Like, they both found their places nicely on the night. And that is a very difficult thing to do, I'm sure. Like, that is a tightrope you're walking as Tony Khan right there.
And for the way Tony booked it, I will say I did get a little concerned in the second hour because they did the JAS and whatever match first.
Yes.
And then they did
fucking Action Andretti and Ricky Starks. So I love Ricky
Starks.
Starks.
I have some comments that I want to address after we get past this point. But where he put the video package, I was gonna say, like, was good.
I thought it was great. I thought it was perfect.
I thought it was great. But also that second hour, I didn't think they were gonna.
I was a little worried.
All right, they're gonna take. I was really worried because I thought they were gonna save at least the full last 30 minutes, and then I saw that it was like 21 minutes remaining, but they did pull it off. There was a match I think they could have pulled if they wanted to, and I think they could have done, and this is nothing against women,
but
WWE did it on the fucking Raw, which I think was wrong with the steel cage. So I will say that they did the wrong, but I think they could have not done that on this Dynamite, and they could have given it more time. But whatever, I'm being critic.
It's also how long can you really put Mark through, right? Like, don't you want you want to keep it like somewhat concise? Mark isn't a TV wrestler. Let's just understand that.
That's true.
Very like he's not used to commercial breaks, when to take them. Not that this was like a super big issue. It seemed like they were fine, but I say that, but I know that there was actually a couple kind of big spots that happened on Our American commercial break that people caught on Fight. Now, thankfully we caught all the most the important shit, but again, you can't give. I don't think you can give a guy that's barely ever been on national TV with commercial breaks a 30-minute match on his first one.
Yeah.
You know, like,
that's true.
I mean, this match was what? I mean, they had 20 minutes for the slot, so the match was probably 12. The match was probably 12, 13, something like that. Exactly what it needed to be. But yeah, sorry, I'm getting distracted. We don't need to keep talking about, Mark Briscoe all night, trying to get away from Jay and Mark. And
I will say, I thought it was great. Let's go to the rest of the Dynamite, because I have a couple of things to say.
Please.
First match, JAS, Action Andretti, Ricky Starks. So, you and I can get into Action Andretti in a second. But I've realized, and I'm going to extend this beyond Jericho in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho keeps doing the same thing. He has a faction. That faction beefs with some other people. It overextends its time period, and he keeps doing it, and then he kind of just redoes it with another group of people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing over and over again, which then led me to realize that's the same thing MJF has been doing. And I need that to stop in order for MJF. And I know he's doing the chicken shit heel thing, and he has been, but he's doing it with fucking Danielson right now the same way he's done it with Wardlow. He makes people, for some reason, MJF has the ability. Now he's the champion, so it's more believable. But before that, he can book whatever he wants, and he has to make them go through all of these things to get to him.
I was gonna ask, because yes, MJF has done that before with the Pinnacle and what have you. But now he's no longer in a faction. He is his own.
But he's doing it again.
But he is doing it again, and he's done it.
My question was in the booking of the stories.
So who did he do?
Why are you using the same stories over and over?
So we did it with Punk, right? Because he put Punk through all the different blah 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 blah,
Yep.
different guys.
He did it, and he did it with Wardlow.
Then he did it with Wardlow, and now he's doing it again with Danielson. And
Yep.
there was even something once upon a time, wasn't it the Labors of Jericho?
Yeah,
Like,
the Labors of Jericho.
So Jericho did it in the same way with Mox. Was it Mox?
Was it Mox or was it Orange Cassidy? What? How did he get into the orange juice fight?
The Mimosa Mayhem, sir. Give it the credit where it's due.
Sorry, how could I forget?
I don't remember. I don't know. My memory's not that good right now. I don't remember how he got into
Me neither.
that.
But regardless, I'm just saying, booking wise, when I thought about
it is too
Jericho,
similar. It is too similar.
I then saw it with MJF, and I was like, God damn it, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, he's doing the same thing over and I'm fine with it right now. But if you do it again, I kind of have a problem. It seems boring.
I would even be okay with it if it was just one of the wrestlers doing the same thing over and over again. But the fact that both of them have habitually done it, that is kind of that's irritating. I also see this whole weird thing with, of course, Action Andretti beat, Jericho on the Fluke. And now, like, he's associated with Jericho matches. Well, but this is all doing what for Ricky Starks? Jericho just saw that Ricky Starks was getting over and wanted to find a way to be in a program with him. And this is, to me, like, Ricky Starks has to beat Jericho.
And
right?
Yeah, they were already on the path to Jericho Starks. Like, you didn't need Action Andretti. And I mean, that's like Jericho's boy, right? I'm pretty sure that he kind of brought him to Tony and said, like, take a look at him or something like that. This guy. So he's like really championing him. I think I heard him say that on his podcast.
He's budget Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega combined, and he's
mixed
to me
with Dante
he looks
Martin.
Mix and looks like an NXT guy. He looks like somebody.
He's a generic high flyer.
He belongs in NXT 2.0. Like, he does. To me, he doesn't belong in the same ring as, like, he looked so out of place with Guevara.
He looked very out of place in this match. And I'm not saying he's not fucking good.
He's athletic. He's talented. He's
athletic. He's talented, but there's something about it that's not meshing. No. Yeah, he's not on the level with those cats.
And that's not just his, like, he has no in-ring charisma. Everything that he hits looks like it's soft. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah.
None of it connects. None of it's really right. Like, he can do some amazing moves, but like, there's no like structure to anything, and it's all just like, hit this, hit that, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And he's almost trying to disguise that he's not storytelling, like, by doing some like shit with Jericho. Like, that's the thing that I think it's they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes with him, and I ain't buying it. Thankfully, Starks and Guevara had a really good match, and there were two other guys there with them. That's really what it was.
It wasn't horrible, but he did look very out of place. The match was whatever. It was okay.
But it was smart to open the show with it at the end of the day, because you do have this big recognition. You've got to hook people that are Big Bang Theory people or just casual fans at the top of the show.
What a weird way to entrance the show, though, with them halfway down the ramp.
You would want, like, for me, it should have just been Judas, here we go right now. Like that's how you do it. Chris Jericho, so on and so forth. But it was midway through. You don't even get the beginning of the song. That was odd. But I get that. I get that you want to put something on there, and also that's something that's not like a complete bummer right off the bat, right? So you don't, and you got to, and in retrospect, the Mark Jay Lethal match needed to go on at the end. But I don't know. Would it have been better for the Darby match to go on? Buddy Matthews. Yeah. Would that have been better? No, I don't think it would have.
I think it was fine. Yeah.
I think it was fine. I think, and then I think that you kind of had the the stuff later on with like Darby he does do pretty good ratings. So like that might have kept people around. Again, women's match probably didn't need to happen. Just yeah. Every once in a while, just you don't have to do it just for the sake of doing it. If it, like, and I understand too that you need to be focusing more on your women's program stuff, but it sounds like Britt got a legitimate injury.
Yeah.
And it was originally scheduled to be a triple threat. And so Ruby, Toni Storm, Britt Baker. Britt gets the injury. They just make it Toni Storm, Ruby. Honestly, at that point, with like, no one's going to fault you for just taking that match out of the show. Especially on a J tribute night, right?
Yeah, especially on a J tribute night, but also because we know you're going to do that match. And Tony, you commented on it.
Yeah.
Saying we're still going to have that match and I'm excited for it when Britt's better.
And
so
it felt like filler. It felt like filler for the sake of putting it on there. I guess what they're really trying to do is establish, Tony wanted to establish even further that Tony is a heel. And this whole ongoing storyline that is now the, what are they calling them? The homegrown versus the outsiders is pretty much what they're doing. And how stupid is it that they're calling Ruby? Wait, which one is she? I can't remember. Because who's more homegrown or outsiders than Tony and Ruby? I don't know. I think they're calling Ruby the homegrown and Tony the outsiders, but there's not a lot of fucking evidence for that to me. I'm just saying, there's not a lot of evidence.
There's not a lot of evidence. If we were to hold a tribal court, we would play our videos, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, Exhibit C.
Oh, that's later in the show. Don't think we've forgotten about that, my friend. But no, think about this here too. Just because I thought about this, I'm like, how did each one get fired? When did they get fired from the WWE? I'm like, well, wait a minute, hang on. Ruby got let go in one of them mass ass releases, and I don't know which one was first. If it was Ruby or Tony that left the company. But let's also remember what Toni Storm did. Toni Storm was like, yo, fuck this place, left in the middle of a match and just straight up left, if you remember.
She did.
Remember that?
She pulled a Jeff Hardy.
So in a weird way, I feel like Toni more homegrown because she was like, I'm just going to go to AEW. I'm leaving this fucking shithole and these goddamn bastards. Yeah. And Ruby actually got fired. So then she had to pick up a job with the company. She didn't leave the company. She got fired and then got the job with the company. So if anything, I think the roles are reversed. And I think Toni Storm's more homegrown than fucking Ruby. And it should have been the other way around because Toni Storm is a better face than Ruby, has way more popularity right now than Ruby, was on an absolute roll as the interim women's champion that they turned into a women's championship, whatever they did with that. So, and I would have preferred to have seen Ruby turn heel than Toni turn heel. I think they got the dynamic backwards, and I'm hoping that this whole thing with Britt Baker is actually a setup so that very thing that I just talked about happens.
Well, Britt showing up on TV did lead me to start wondering, right?
Right.
So, if you had to put money on it, who would you guess left WWE or got fired first? I have answers.
Toni was first. Wrong way around, huh?
Wrong way around. So but they were within like 6 months of each other.
Okay, well, still.
So Ruby was let go in one of like the large releases on June 2nd, 2021.
Wow.
Feels like forever ago.
Doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
And then Toni wrestled on SmackDown on Christmas Eve of 2021, and then December 29th, 2021 was when she was done.
Okay.
When she requested the release and she was granted it on the house show.
Yeah, but she was fed up with the goddamn place and just wanted to walk out. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
that was
like,
after, remember, she got pied in the face a couple of times by, or at least once by Charlotte. There was something involving her and Charlotte and a pie in the face.
yeah, and also good for her, the way she handled it like a pro, and I quote, "It's just their system runs a certain way, and I didn't agree with, and I don't like it. And there's a lot of people that feel that way, hence why I left. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Nah,
I don't think there's anything wrong with WWE. It just wasn't going to work out for me there.
perfect. That's all
It
you
was
need
good
to
for
say.
her.
Yeah, I mean,
Good for her.
I think we would both like her more if she just had
If
a
she changed her
better
music.
theme song. Exactly. It's terrible. It's terrible. That's also just
I don't need a fucking like weird ass version of Hearts of Barracuda playing all the time.
yeah, it's pretty bad. Let's talk a little bit more about the developments with MJF and Bryan Danielson over the past, since the last time we did a show. Since then, we've seen 2 matches with Danielson and multiple partners in part of this ongoing quest, right? So Bandido, we haven't talked since he had the match with Bandido, did we?
No, we didn't talk about that.
We haven't
the
talked
last
about
one was the
Well, we had the Brian Cage match and just this past Wednesday.
and before
But before that was
and then
Bandido.
Bandido, and before that was Japanese dude.
Well, my boy, Takashita, Takashita,
Yeah,
Takashita,
take a yeah.
Takashita, Konosuke Takashita. Yeah,
Yeah,
he rules.
Kushida,
That guy does.
Kushida.
We talked about him. Yeah, and he.
We did. Also, I loved this week that he came out.
Oh yeah. Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to
you're
that.
setting because all right, yeah, because you're setting up an amazing way to just push him up to that title thing to give him an MJF.
Oh yeah,
a thing. He doesn't need to win it, but now he's in that picture. He's in that
they
upper
are
heavyweight main title.
I hope
they're
Tony,
hot.
they're hot on him.
Tony's
Tony's got a boner.
him.
Yeah, Tony's got a boner for him, and let's just hope he keeps it alive long enough where he doesn't get bored because he does eat or a new shiny toy pops up and
Yeah, Tony, don't
give up
so
on
much
him.
Coke that you lose the boner.
Yeah, exactly. But I think
just
he's
enough
in
that
good
you maintain,
hands.
bro.
Bandido though, what a match! That Bandido match. I mean, I've seen plenty of Bandido matches, and
Bandido's amazing. Yeah.
Every once in a while,
I've seen him live.
Oh yeah, see, I've not done that. I've not done that. But Theresa, she goes in and out of watching wrestling with me, right? Like she'll watch big pay-per-views, but especially week to week. Sometimes she's in the mood, sometimes she's not, and instantly she I love this too. Sometimes where you get a wrestler that just somehow, and a person that and they just connect somehow, like. She's not like this often. The minute she saw Bandido, she's just like transfixed, and this guy's cool. Like I don't know, there's something about this guy is cool, and it's interesting with my wife because she's familiar enough with wrestling. She's not like she hears from me all the time, right? So she's more educated than a casual fan, but she is, I suppose, more on that side of things. And when you get that true, honest opinion of somebody that's never seen anybody before, or never seen this person before, and they're instantly into that person through the entrance, through the match, through every bit of it. Now, granted, she is watching him with fucking goddamn Bryan Danielson, who can make anybody look good.
Yeah, but that's
not
take any credit away from Bandido.
Absolutely not. I'm not. I will not. Because that match was phenomenal. I've watched that one twice and might watch it a third time. I can't wait to one day see that on a pay-per-view, with stakes raised, because it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And for a TV match, I mean, it was great. It was absolutely phenomenal, and I think it did. A lot of people were worried with Bandido because it was like, oh my God, here we go. Another big signing, another one of Tony's toys that's going to get lost in the shuffle.
Bandido needs to be on TV. He needs to be fucking banging it out.
This did everything to
Match
quiet.
after match after match.
I think this did everything to quiet down that, and quell that instantly, because the people that watched that match we're all instant fans of his and will be excited to get another match.
Yeah.
I hope they book him well. I hope they use him well. I hope it's not too long of a project. It will be a fairly long project, but I hope it's not too long.
So what do you see him doing?
I hope in a year from now, we've got him with a TNT championship on. I think he's that sort of level. I think he is absolutely that sort of level. Let's not forget he's been an ROH world champion. So he could be another fixture of ROH should they go that route.
Yeah, they could totally do that. That's true.
What
do you think? What do you think about the upcoming match with Danielson and Timothy Thatcher?
Okay, this is a cool one. Before we get to that, let's talk about the Brian Cage stuff. Pretty bog average match, the worst of like these, but you know, it wasn't bad. It was good.
Yeah, but it was different from what we've been seeing. So
it was smart it was smart for them to do something different. It was more of an angle than it was a match, if you really consider it all, with the like paying him to break his arm and all that type of shit. I didn't love, like, a lot of people were like super stoked on Danielson's promo, like after the fact when he's like the doctor's telling him that he can't wrestle, and he's like,
oh yeah,
you don't tell me I can't wrestle. And I get it. It's a throwback to Danielson's career and everything, but it's like, but no, like the doctor can absolutely tell you.
Absolutely tell you. Yeah.
So I didn't like
wrestled
that.
with this and this and this.
Yeah, I didn't like that too much, but whatever. It does sort of clear things up and gives Danielson the urgency to want to take that belt off of MJF, which builds the feud. So I like that. The announcement of Timothy Thatcher is interesting. He does not need to sign with AEW. This needs to be
I don't think he's going to. I think this is payback for them sending Darby and Sting over to Noah.
Yeah.
I think Tony's like, yeah, I'll totally do that. I want Timothy Thatcher to come wrestle Danielson.
Yep. I think you're absolutely right. I think that's exactly what happened, and I think it's a good call. As far as like, hey, we're gonna peak some, like, you know, indie interests, some NXT interests, that type of deal. He also just looks like, I've always thought with Timothy Thatcher, like, he just looks scary, right? Like, he's terrifying looking. Like those.
He is a broad-backed man. He is
the missing teeth, big. The scars on his head. He doesn't give a fuck. He's a fighting.
You don't want to meet that dude in an alley or anywhere, really, at a bar, whatever.
Fighting goddamn machine, bro. Fighting machine. So we all know the result, and it will be a brutal, like, submission match. It will have a lot of hard hitting in there too. Strikes and submissions are going to be your poison in this one. Danielson will win, as we expect him to do, and then it will go on to the final match, I believe, because MJF put a date on it, and it was February the 8th. So if I'm not going to pretend that I was this smart to figure this out. This is courtesy of one Brian Alvarez, who is totally speculating here. But Brian Alvarez put it together that, so the one with Thatcher is on the, was it the 1st? And that the last one that they said is on the 8th. Guess who is in the United States a few days on a booked show on the 11th?
I don't know.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Oh,
who
very
Brian
cool.
Danielson was supposed to face at Forbidden Door
and couldn't
because he was injured.
Yeah.
So that would be like, I mean, and that
we're gonna put that on TV. Goddamn.
I know, right? But what a technical masterpiece it would be. We're not saying that that's happening. Brian Alvarez isn't saying that's happening, but
it very much, you put the timelines together.
Bring him in a few days. Yeah, bring him in like less than a week, full week early, and you're already here. Come on.
Yeah. Less than a week. I will say I did like the intensity of MJF coming down to the ring, throwing the bell because she was ringing the bell, and then also like pushing that person on that side table, like, and taking the chair. The intensity in that was fucking awesome.
It was. And this whole, like, what is it? This monster behind the mask is slowly revealing himself.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see a different side of MJF. He's not a good side.
Yeah, when things don't go his way.
We're starting to even see
which could be his downfall at a certain point in time. Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Let's talk also a little bit real quick about how this whole Hangman Mox feud is shaping up, because I'm loving every bit they're doing with this.
Before this past week, the segment with Renee and Hangman the week before.
Yes.
I thought they were like hitting on each other. I thought they were going to bang or something.
Well, I mean,
I thought that's where the storyline might have been going.
I don't think that's where it's going at all, because I think
it's not going that way at all, especially after this week. But the week before, was it not weird? There was like some weird like sex. Really?
No, I didn't pick up on that.
It was like there was some fucking sexual tension.
I mean, I'd watch it. I mean, that's two good looking people right there. I mean, I'd watch it, but I mean, Moxie's just over there pacing in the corner. He's the cuck.
I'm no fucking cuck. I'm no fucking Hangman's like, tell me my hair's better than you, Renee.
No, WWE is the one that does all the cuck storylines. I feel like AEW will at least hopefully stray away from that. I just love the fact that now it's like, now we've got like Battle of the Concussions going on, and it started with a real concussion, and now we've got
I thought that Mox we talked about it. I thought he was going to be gone for a while. Like, we didn't have any confirmation. It was just that, one, he deserves it.
But now he's back next week.
Yeah, now he's back next week, which maybe because it's in Ohio, does Hangman put him out, and maybe this is
that's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking. This would be
because this is the third or fourth.
Third
of their matches.
Third of this series, but they might have had one
series.
Like, okay. Yeah, but this would be the third of this series.
Yeah. Oh, Siri's saying she's here and she let me know.
Oh, thanks, Siri's.
Yeah. Siri.
Yes.
They
never answer.
Yeah. Okay. Always when you're just talking shit.
You're not a smoker, but I equate it to Siri being like, years ago they came out with FSCs, right? They're fire safe cigarettes. So so after you leave them
you can't light them. They're actually gum.
Okay, so this is the thing. It always happens, right? Like, they're supposed to, if you put them in an ashtray, they've got like a limited time before they put themselves out without being puffed on, right? But every time
I want to inhale that.
Every time you want that to happen, and it never does, and it burns the whole thing. And every time that you want to light one, it never fucking lights. Like, it never fucking lights correctly. It's like either one or the other. It's always the opposite of what you want. That's what Siri does. I don't know how that makes sense, but it does in my head. That is kind of
what Siri does.
That's what Siri does. It's.
I will say similar to that fucking cigarette that never goes out. I thought Blackpool Combat Club was going to be strongest ever, because after Regal was done, remember Mox and Yuta and Daniels, they all got in the ring. We're going to be as strong as ever. What's going on with that? Blackpool. Yeah.
Well, okay. I think so we know Mox. All right. They should have been helping out Bryan Danielson, right? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So we know Mox. He wasn't there because he's injured, right? So okay, we got that.
It just hasn't been a focus, I guess is what I'm saying. Not even just this past Wednesday.
Yuta was just there, but late or something. And then Claudio, where were you? Were you in there? I don't know what happened to Claudio.
But Yuta was there to say Moxley would take the match, but he's also said he took a match. Who's he wrestling on Friday?
He's doing fucking no one.
He's wrestling Hangman. That's what he's doing. He's wrestling Hangman.
Well, yeah, Mox
That's
and
what he said.
Hangman. Mox and
Yeah, but
Hangman's next week.
Oh, I thought
you
you
were
next
saying
week on Dynamite, but
Yeah.
Yuta showed up backstage
What's
with
Yuta
Renee and
doing?
said, I'm saying Yuta showed up and said to Hangman, he said, I'm telling you, Mox will be there next week, but you got to get through me on Friday on Rampage.
Oh, so they got a match before that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Stupid.
Trying to sell Rampage.
I don't know, but just all I'm saying is Blackpool Combat Club, just be done with it.
Yeah, I think they probably should. If nothing,
there's no saving it. Just be done. It was good for what it was. It was great.
Now that Regal's gone,
it's just done. You should have been done with it since then. But like, why make that big thing where they were all in the ring? Remember, Mox did that big speech. Said Blackpool Combat Club is forever. We're gonna be the strongest we've ever been. We're gonna be here. Blah blah. I still don't. It's almost like I don't consider them a faction anymore, but their name is thrown around.
You
don't see them all on TV together.
I feel like they should have put a more definitive end to it, or a definitive pause to it, if nothing else. Know that they're they can all still be friends without being in a faction together, and they can choose their own way, but they can defend each other every once in a while. They can have relationships, but they don't necessarily need to be a brotherhood right now, something like that. I don't know that.
Also MJF calling Regal Ellen DeGeneres on meth.
That was pretty good. I like that one. I like that line.
Pretty funny.
I can see Regal just smiling and laughing from home as he's watching that too, or in Gorilla as he has his watching on his phone somewhere at a house show or something. There's not a ton more of AEW news apart from this one little kind of tidbit. I mean, there is plenty more, but I storyline wise, very confused, intrigued, and have my own fantasy booking opinions on what is going on with Eddie Kingston and Ortiz in particular right now. So Kingston, Ortiz, if you haven't noticed, they've been having some issues with the old House of Black there. And that's led to them infighting. And now Kingston, I believe, hit Ortiz with the chair. Was it this past week or the week before? It all blends in.
Yeah, because Ortiz thought that Kingston was going to hit Julia Hart with the chair, which Julia Hart had set it up. Which also, even if we're in kayfabe has TVs backstage after segments. People have technology. You could be like, hey man, I know what you thought. Here's what happened. But Ortiz did mention homicide very clearly when he was yelling at Kingston before Kingston hit him with the chair. I think they're going to do at Revolution. I think they're going to do homicide, Kingston, Ortiz versus House of Black.
That's a smart move. I think they are possibly leaning towards a trios type thing with House of Black, Kingston, Ortiz, homicide. But it could also be what if Ortiz and Santana made friends again? And it's like a return for Santana. You could easily do it that way.
I haven't heard any rumors, so I don't know.
I know they were unhappy. Santana wanted to go and do his own thing, supposedly make it on his own, but I don't think he's done anything since disappearing. I don't know if he's still under contract. No one does. But it'd be nice. It'd be cool if they brought them back together, right? And then I had a thought. What about Mark Briscoe with them?
I actually like that.
I feel like him and...
Is it too soon?
Well, him and Eddie know each other real well. Eddie put up that big show the other night. And then I started thinking even further, because we talked about how Mark might be a perfect person down the road to tell a story with and take the Ring of Honor World Championship, right? In honor of his brother, all that. We've also talked about what do you do with Eddie Kingston down the road? And will Eddie Kingston ever be a top guy? Will he ever get the AEW World Championship? A lot of people say, and myself unfortunately included recently, that that's probably not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
But can Eddie Kingston have a feud with Mark Briscoe for the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship?
Fuck yes.
Fuck yes, they can. And that right there is, I don't know if they've thought that long ahead. Obviously can't be thinking that long ahead because Jay didn't, unless Tony Khan just...
have Mark take it off Claudio and then have...
But yeah, I mean, what a cool little... And see, that was my thought, though, before all this. Claudio and Kingston have that history that goes back a while. A while. And I think this little program with Ortiz is kind of like, yeah, you're going to lose to the House of Black with somebody. Maybe it is even Homicide, right? They lose to the House of Black. Eddie Kingston moves into the Ring of Honor side of things. Eddie Kingston's the one to take it off of Claudio. Yep. Because of their history, Shikara, so on and so forth. Then you can have Mark have built to possibly take it off Eddie.
I like that.
And that's, so I did legit have all that, half that Ortiz and Kingston stuff. And then we talked about like the Mark thing, and I just kind of like, wait a minute, but Mark would also figure into some of this too.
Right in there. Yeah.
And I like
that.
I also think that we, like, speaking of trios, we got to figure out who the Elite is up doing what they're doing, right?
Yeah. Well, and apparently Kenny has
the visa issues. Right. Well, I'm sure they'll figure that out. They'll throw enough money at that to take care of it.
They'll do what they need to do.
And it can't be that bad because he was in the goddamn country 2 weeks ago, so they can't be that bad. Like
exactly.
Whatever that is, like it's just that's a hold up. Give it a week or two, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
But they need to figure out
he's overseas.
But they do need to figure out like who their next opponents are going to be.
100%. Yeah, they definitely need to do that.
I
will say, I think it's
it needs to be Top Flight and somebody after the match they just had this past week. That match was actually really, really fucking good. It was really good. It was a surprise, and that was obviously just a tag match. Bucks, Top Flight. Who would you
put with them?
That's where I'm struggling. But what if it was Keith Lee? I know he's still dealing with his swerve thing, but you could do it. You could also do, I just like the idea of like the brick shit house with the two like huge high flyers, and then the chemistry that you could have between almost like Kenny and Keith would seem cool to me. Like that was the idea behind that. But you could also pair, I don't know, Top Flight. Man, I mean, it is tough. I don't have. If Jay Lethal wasn't doing his whole thing with Jeff Jarrett and whatnot, he would almost be perfect with them.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm forgetting somebody.
I'm sure I am too, because I can't.
Because their roster's so big. But if you're not gonna do like something with this, because one's got to figure the Young Bucks don't just lose to Top Flight for no reason. So they're like definitely probably like the easy opponents with somebody next on the agenda. That's my main thinking. Then I was also thinking, well, what's the story down the line? Especially when it comes to also Adam Cole, baby. Let's not forget, Tony Khan signed the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Adam Cole was in the Kingdom. Super Elite doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
They're gone. Kyle O'Reilly's like dead now.
Yeah.
I don't know. And Bobby Fish is off asking where the lie is.
Yeah.
So could you pair up Cole with the rest of the Kingdom like they were in ROH?
Yeah.
Have them take on the Elite? I don't know. Maybe you can. I don't think they're ready to go with Cole in a singles title spot right away. But he needs to be in something important. And this would be a way to do that with his buddies.
Also,
I don't know.
Can we say how funny it was in his promo at the very end this week, the video package where he says, I don't know when I'm going to wrestle again. But I forget the thing, but he's like, I don't know when I'm going to wrestle again, but I can't wait. And then he's sitting in the ring staring at the Revolution sign.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like,
not
like
too.
Why have him say that?
Yeah,
Just have him look at it. I'm fine with that, but why say one thing, do the other?
That was like it's the equivalent. It's too. It's is that their equivalent of the when Royal Rumble pointed the WrestleMania sign? Is that what that is?
Just look up. It might be. It might be.
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Yeah, there was one other thing you just said that made me want to go off on a tangent. It was pretty poignant. I can't remember what it was. But I will say that the next thing that I did have, this one, I have been saying, I don't know if you want to go into it right now or not, but because we were talking about Kingston, this Misawa versus Kawada match from 94.
Yeah. Well, okay. You did watch the whole match then?
I watched the whole match. I will say, halfway through, actually the very beginning, I saw the Kingston there. I saw
okay. Well, let's explain like a little bit.
Immediately from the very beginning.
We gotta explain to the audience a little bit about, just for context, and we'll do this right before we go to break. We'll end this segment with this. And yeah, I stumbled upon this. I've been hearing Kingston and other people in interviews talk about Misawa, for years. And it's like, yeah, I know the name, but like, I don't know anything about Misawa, right? And I just YouTube Misawa, right? Let's figure this out. Find my first match. What's his first name again? I'm shit with names, so help me out here.
First name is...
You see, I don't even know his first fucking name. I know him as Misawa.
Yeah.
This is how bad of a wrestling fan I am.
Mitsuhara. It's Mitsuharu.
I think you say it
Mitsura.
I think it's Mitsuhara.
Mitsuhara.
I think
Mitsuharu?
Is it Mitsuharu?
Mitsuharu.
I think it's
Haru.
I think it's that.
It's Mitsuharu. That would make phonetic sense.
Yeah,
Mitsuharu Misawa.
It's like Mitsuharu Misawa, right? And I'm sure we are butchering it.
Toshiaki Kawada.
Yeah. So this match is fucking bonkers, and I've always heard Eddie Kingston talk about it. And
it's regarded as the best wrestling match ever that you could get back in the tape trading days.
Yeah, like
if you could get this, this was the holy fucking grail. I looked this up.
Yep.
I Googled it, and this is the fucking match. If you could get this on VHS when you were doing tape trading.
1993 or 1994?
94, so it was June 3rd, 1994.
And it was in what became Noah? Was it still All Japan? Yeah.
It was All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Right. So it's All Japan at that time. I'm not going to educate you on the whole split of All Japan becomes Noah and all that sort of stuff. That's another segment for another day. I'm learning about Japanese wrestling, folks. I'm literally, I've been reading a lot about this stuff and trying to kind of educate myself on their side of the business just because I find it interesting. But yes, this is a holy grail type match, right? Like back in the tape trading days, like it is, and you can see why. I sent this under the preface to Matthew. I'm like, hey, get a chance, check this out. It's a 45-minute long match, pretty long match.
Yeah, it's like 45 minutes.
Yeah, but it's a decent commitment. And I'm like, but you can tell this is 100% where Eddie Kingston gets his influence from. And not just from Misawa, by the way, from both wrestlers. Like in the
yes, from both wrestlers, but also look at the gear.
Oh
look
yeah,
at the black and yellow.
Oh yeah, black and yellow, and look at the green. And he wore. Remember when he wore that ugly green one? He wore that
and he wore green and silver.
He wore that Misawa green, who is like the emerald. It's something emerald. He's like the Emerald King or something. Like he's like they refer like it's in Japanese lore, and like his finisher is like the Emerald something or other. Again, I'm all learning about all this. I don't know. But I know that I was impressed with this match. I know that I saw the Eddie Kingston influence in it. Matthew, did it deliver for you like it did for me?
It 100% did. I actually wished at the beginning, this is what I was saying. At the beginning, I was saying halfway through, but it was at the very beginning. I was wondering, and I can never go back in my life, so thank you for robbing me of this. But if you had just said, watch this match, who does this remind you of?
Yes, sorry.
No. I just wonder if I would have, and I think I would have gotten Kingston, but it is so Kingston. So I'm looking at my notes here. So
it's
during
Kingston,
it,
but they do it. But I mean, nothing against Kingston.
So I mean,
but they
so
do
much
it
better,
a lot
so
better.
much harder.
They do it a lot better,
and
lot harder.
And Kingston hits hard.
Yeah, but
right?
not
but
like this. Not like
technically
this.
hard, right? So the crowd.
It's a
insanely
banana
fucking loud for a Japanese.
Oh my god, that crowd is fucking just
absolutely insane. They're loud as shit.
You also have to understand, Misawa is a fucking like folk hero to this day over there too. He is like legendary. And they've got a few over there, but he's on that Hulk Hogan goddamn level. He's just at this point in his career, he is John Cena at his most popular. That's what he is there to that crowd.
And the slaps, Kingston definitely, I mean, everyone does back chop slaps, but
the way they're done,
everything like insane. The what was it? The boots, like the big kicks, those ones fucking insane. And so like there was so much of that, and like the chops, even like to the neck, like where he goes up behind him and he holds the arm up and he does the chops to the neck, right? Kingston does that exact move. But then these two big fucking Japanese dudes then pull off some crazy fucking moves,
acrobatics,
fucking acrobatics, and what's amazing is
the way the one that he does off the springboard too, like off the where did that come from? Like you're
and that's what I love about this match.
This dude looks old. This dude looks fairly old, kind of out of shape, big, just like Japanese like thumper, like an Eddie Kingston type. And then you see him do this shit, and you're like, where did that fucking just come from? Like it comes out of nowhere, and the match just becomes a new thing. Like it's like, they can do anything.
And what you're talking about happens multiple times throughout the match because they do the chops, the slaps, the kicks, and like then they do some technical holds. But like then they'll do like a big kick, or they'll do like a big drop kick, and then they wait a few minutes. Like they know how to work this, their storytelling, and then out of nowhere, because they're both like, there's this one like dojo boy who he's on the mat the whole time, keeps telling him like cover him. I'm like, he knows what he's doing, but he's playing it so well because he's so dazed even after he does a big move. But there would be these moments where you would see like a drop kick, or you would see chops or a hold, and then something would happen, and then they would both be exhausted, and there's like a minute, minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes where they're like kind of getting up, doing their thing, and then out of nowhere, there's fucking like acrobatics, like crazy power bombs, like what the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. It was just like they're saving up their energy. Then there's like spurts of this energy, and then it goes back to the storytelling. Such a great match.
Doesn't it feel way ahead of its time? Like
ahead of its time.
From what we're used to watching from, again, 94 professional wrestling in North America compared to what we were watching in 94, this is just like, this is leaps abound. Like
I don't think my 10-year-old brain comprehended.
I don't think I could have
either.
And I can barely comprehend it, having seen AEW and AAA and all the crazy shit that we see on GIFs every day of the week. I was just flabbergasted. I'm like, okay, I get it now. I get it. And I've heard Eddie talk about this stuff for years, and I finally just gave it the chance. And what I kind of learned is that during this time, and I might be wrong, if someone knows more than me, then please correct me, but during this period, All Japan, Noah, New Japan are the biggest kind of like three big deals. There's another one too that DDP hadn't come along yet, but well, my point is, there's a Japanese name for this term, but Noah and All Japan abided by a different sort of wrestling philosophy than New Japan. New Japan was kind of the more boring of the pro wrestling in Japan during this era. New Japan was almost like watching boxing or watching an MMA fight. It of course had that sporting feel, but there were no promos. There were no real storylines. It was just kind of like athletics. It was borderline shoot during this period.
Okay.
Whereas they described the Noah parts of the All Japan style of, especially Noah. This really came around with Misawa, because he was the one that kind of invented it and popularized it with Noah when it sort of separated from All Japan. Misawa went on to form Noah, and it's this specific type of style. Again, Japanese name, can't really pronounce this word, but it is a description of a style of wrestling that is a mixture of what they were doing in New Japan with a more Western style. They took some influence from Western styled Japanese wrestling and blended it into what they were doing. And I think I've stumbled upon what a lot of Westerners have been missing from Japanese wrestling that can't get into New Japan, for instance. I think that we all need to be watching Noah. I think, and I'm going to really give this a big shot, because I like big matches, New Japan stuff. I mean, that Kenny Omega Will Ospreay, I watched Okada, I watched Naito, I watched tons of New Japan, but they don't grab me in the same way as a product or a pay-per-view. I go in again, I see matches, follow certain storylines. I feel like Noah has the presentation that we would be more
that little bit of Western showmanship.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's still like that currently necessarily.
I don't know either.
But in the go back and watch that match and tell me there's not something WWE about it as well. Like, it's so good, like, on a technical level, but it still has some presentation aspects that make it big fight feel, that make it feel like a huge event, which WWE is so perfect at doing. And it feels like that. And part of that is the crowd. Like, that crowd is rabid, man. That crowd is electric. Fuck you, Japanese crowds are quiet, right? Like, go watch that shit and tell me they're quiet, because they're louder than like half the goddamn main events you'd see in modern day.
At the very beginning of that match, they circle each other for 20, 30 seconds or something like that before they lock up.
Even touch hands,
and the crowd is going wild. That's when I wrote that note originally, and then it just carried through to the match. There's this one dude in a tie and suit I was watching. The look on his face, and there's this one woman, just the fucking, she has
Yeah.
the biggest smile and
Yeah.
claps and throwing arms in the air, and they're loud.
And dude, so towards the end of his career, Misawa had a match with Samoa Joe, and that should be
Really?
that's your yeah.
That's our homework. Okay.
Yeah, that's your homework for the week. That's as he's getting, that's like towards the end of his career. I do believe this is going to end very poorly. We also have Misawa versus Vader, for instance. Like we're
Okay.
gonna go down.
Yeah, Vader did do stuff in Japan. Yeah.
Oh, he did a lot of stuff in Japan.
Yeah.
But he spoiler alert, Misawa dies in the ring. And it's a tragic sort of legacy. He went on way too long where he shouldn't have. And look at the style he's even wrestling in this match against Kawada here. I mean, the match you watched.
Yeah.
How many times are both of them just dumped like on their head and necks? Like it's so much. It can't be good. It can't be good. And is fucking awesome as that shit looks. I worry about it with we worry about it with Kenny and some of the guys that we see constantly doing it. It's just like I think he got like punch cards for that, right? Like there's only so many of those.
You're like a cat. You got 9 lives.
Yeah, there's only so many of those that you're allowed to take before it just ain't gonna do that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like I worry about it, but again, it's nasty in a lot of ways, but the storytelling is phenomenal. Every bit of this match is through and through great. I'm going to try and be, giving you guys like a little more pro wrestling Noah, legacy and sort of history over the weeks as I learn more, and that can be about Misawa, that can be about tons of stuff that's gone on within Noah. I will say that Samoa Joe match is from Misawa's last title reign. I can't remember how many he had, but he was forced because Noah didn't do a great job of building new talent. He was forced as the owner, as the biggest star, to have to kind of step in and take the belt and defend it when he was way too old, way too out of shape. Apparently he used to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day, right? and also running the company, and he has like a series of 6 matches before the end of his career, and Samoa Joe ranks pretty highly in those 6 matches is one of the best, and a lot of them, I think at least 2 of them are done in a Ring of Honor ring, and one of them was with Kenta, which is, I think, considered one of Ring of Honor's masterpieces. So just go ahead and check out Misawa. I'll give you my updates as I learn more about him and more about the history of Noah.
I pulled up this article from 25 years later, it being reviewed. And so I'm just going to read you the last 2 quick paragraphs here, just because I think this speaks to what you just said about this match. There's an argument for it being the most influential match of all time, on top of it being the greatest. It's the peak of a style that has now become the norm basically all over the world, whether it's truly influenced by it or a bastardized approximation. It's devoid of overkill, yet somehow for a match that lasts
devoid of overkill
minutes,
is such a good way to put that. Fuck, that's yes, because
right?
that is the way I felt. It never felt like it was over the top. It never felt like it got boring. It kept it moving with
going
and stepping it up. Sorry, devoid of overkill.
Yeah.
Go back the sentence.
It's devoid of overkill, yet somehow for a match that lasted 36 minutes, you want more of it because of how compelling it was. The struggle for Kawada to come up antagonizingly short of his generational rival, but to have such a definitive finish shows how much thought went into the match structured just with that decision. It simultaneously shows that Misawa was dealing with the best folks through at him for almost 2 years straight, and that if it came to it, he'd attack a weakness or be able to think on the fly. Those nuances get lost in a lot of the modern matches due to the layouts hammering home the obvious instead of letting fans connect the dots, which is why the legacy of this match has endured for so long. It's a celebration of so much in wrestling. The joy of watching two wrestlers in their primes put on undoubtedly the best performance of each of their careers at the moment that folks expect them to happen. It tells the tragic tale in the face of so much optimism for Kawada, showing that not all growth is linear. It's thoughtful and varied and intense and engaging and gut-wrenching and enthralling and all the other adjectives you've ever wanted to throw at a professional wrestling match. It's the ultimate match that can be rewatched ad infinitum
Yep.
without losing its value on repeat viewings. From Dean Rasmussen's review from DVD VR 100, quote, got all the elements of what makes great wrestling matches great, but has something else that you can't explain, like Roy Orbison's voice or a Matisse painting. It's ethereal and great, and it's art, and you should fucking see this match.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more with that sentiment and that statement. Like it blew me away. I didn't know what I was getting into, and this isn't even like, don't worry about it. Just get past the first 5 minutes and you'll like it.
No, you're into it.
You're there. You're there immediately.
Like I said, those first 20, 30 seconds when they're circling before they fucking lock up,
it doesn't,
electric.
And it just keeps going and building and building and building and getting better. And I will probably be watching that match again. I want Theresa to see it. It's also great because it certainly proves a lot like that old adage of wrestling can be a universal language, and there is no need to have to understand about anything about Japanese culture or Japanese words or anything like that. The commentary is all in Japanese.
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
Japanese.
But it doesn't matter one bit.
They're telling the story in the ring with their
yes, and every single bit of it. It proves that universal language thing. It proves the ability to tell the story in the ring
and to invoke emotion out of people and to get them in with what you're doing.
You instantly know who's the face. You instantly know who's the heel, even if you've never watched wrestling, and every bit plays perfectly.
Yep.
And it definitely has to be an influence on a ton of professional wrestlers today, including, of course, Eddie Kingston. But beyond that, I think just like the style, the progression of that match, like the way and there's no way to, with a match that long, with how intricate that was, sure, they must have pre-planned some shit, but there was a lot of just, know each other so well, and that we can read each other so well that we don't even have to talk. We don't have to figure this out. We just gotta.
And that was the cool thing, because I noticed that during the moments where they were taking their breaks and they were really getting up and they were extending it, and they would move into something. I was like, I didn't see their heads get close.
No, exactly.
They knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. Ooh, well, maybe if you don't appreciate it, you can go and enjoy a Karrion Kross, barn burner at some point.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Maybe if that's not your style, brah.
Or watch Tony's Boner Jams.
Cool. You could do that. You could absolutely do that.
Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly. We will be taking a little bit of a break right now. We'll take a little dancey dance break. And when we come back, we will chit chat about, I guess, the biggest, we did an hour and a half without even talking, over an hour and a half without even talking about WWE, or in fact, the biggest show of the week coming up, and that is, of course, the Royal Rumble. And we'll get back to it. We'll talk some Raw Triple X.
Legends Night.
On either the next...
I love me a Legends Night.
You love them. We'll either talk about that, depending on how you're listening, later on here on the Twitch, in just about 10 minutes or so. Or if you're listening on the podcast, there'll be a separate little download. You just click that one and it'll be like, hey, Raw, Triple X, and Royal Rumble shit. So just do that, and we will see you in just a few minutes. What do we want to say to him, Matthew? Woo! Welcome to your second dose of the Ono Wrestling Podcast. That song, that intro song there, it always kind of reminds me of the Wolfpack a little bit. When the Wolfpack's coming out, like I get my Scott.
I can see that. I like that.
Yeah, I get my Scott Hall on, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Did
welcome.
you change shirts?
No, I was wearing this underneath my my trackie earlier. I just took off my trackie,
okay.
Yeah, and I took off my hat.
Maybe it was a wardrobe change.
No, It's not a wardrobe change. It's just taking off a jacket. That's all. Still showing. I still got my
getting
my
serious for the second set.
I gotta pull out my mountain man every once in a while. You know, I gotta wear a flannel.
You look like you belong here in Colorado.
I do. I look like I would fit right in with you, goddamn drunken.
Maybe, I don't know. If
stoner
it's cold at 51.
degenerates. Yeah, no,
No.
I probably could. Different cold though, bro. Different cold. You don't know about that swamp cold. Tonight we got swamp cold.
I grew up in Georgia.
It's different here, man. Swamp cold in Florida. I'm telling you, it's different. It's not. You're not swamp. Yeah, Georgia's not the swamp. They think they're the swamp. They don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, this segment we're switching gears a little bit. No more of that fancy pants AEW talk. No. We're switching to the tried and true, the Fed, the Saudi Arabian, sports entertainment factory, as they will be known soon. We're gonna talk a little bit about the WWE. We're gonna talk about some Royal Rumble, do some predictions and speculations here in just a second. But before we get into that, I feel like we have to address one Raw Triple X Raw Triple X Raw. That's what it feels like, right? I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It feels something about the title does feel dirty, but of course, it was Raw's 30th anniversary, and we talked about righting some wrongs earlier on the show. It feels like even this particular Raw, this Triple X, this
that was
30th,
the best Legends night I've ever seen.
It tried to right some wrongs. It was the best. It was still a Legends night. Let's not beat around the bush too much here, but it was the best.
I said it was the best Legends night.
Yeah. I think that's an apt statement. Although it wasn't, it was also the best DX reunion I've seen in a while.
Right? Yeah, that you've seen in the past 4 months.
Yeah, in the past 4 months. We won't go piece by piece of this Raw 30, but it does absolutely need to be noted that the creative direction seemed to be, for my taste, on the right direction for the most part, and gave me some faith in not only how Triple H will possibly handle Legends, and Legends nights, but also how he may be even thinking about the road to WrestleMania and this upcoming Royal Rumble. Did you get I got a pretty decent feeling coming out of that show. You?
I had a great feeling coming out of that show. And then reading, even to your point a second ago, reading even articles afterwards saying that, with Ric Flair apologizing to Becky Lynch and saying that it started with Triple H, right? I think that even adds to your point. How are Legends handled? What are they doing for up and coming talent? Because I think and we'll kind of get into everything, but just as a broad scope, I'll touch on a couple of things. The way Taker passed the torch to Bray, that was a great use of a legend passing the torch, right? And that's what was needed. Even DX saying things like, no, I'm retired, I can't do that. And they're not up to the challenge of wrestling Imperium, right? And going through all of that. I think those are the ways that you're able to use Legends to, and as you should, use their star power, use their attraction, and build your base that you have at home working in and out every day.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that I said for the most part they handled it pretty well, and there were some other exceptions, but let's just start at the top of the show. We get fucking Hulk Hogan coming out there and fumbling with a bad microphone.
I thought he
Handling
was
it
being
well.
racist and saying like racist.
Oh,
I was like, what is he saying? I was
are
trying
they
to figure it
muting him?
out.
Is he coming out there
Yeah,
and saying
I was
all
like,
you
as soon as he
N-words or
came out-
something? Like Blizzpiz? Like is he
Yeah.
Blizzpizzing people again?
Also, unneeded. He just doesn't need to be there.
No, he doesn't. And it from I forget who said it. Someone backstage dropped a comment today. I forget who it was. It was not too long before the show, but someone had basically said they actually felt very bad for Hogan in this latest appearance, that he had not long had knee surgery again, and like wasn't like walking. He was only walking with a cane backstage. Like he's walking with a cane, and then he's coming out and then fucking doing his thing, and then walking with like the cane's probably right there, behind the LED wall or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess but you're right. Like, I don't think we need Hogan anymore.
No,
on
we
these
don't
shows.
need him to show up. We do not
all.
need that. Like, we don't need that novelty anymore.
And he's also like, he's just doing it for the payday. We know that. That is what it is. But
he added nothing.
He added nothing, and he's also in a state where he's like in pain, probably just getting out there and
could
doing
fall
it.
over on live TV and hurt himself.
Yeah, you're becoming a liability at a certain point. Like, what value can you have if you can't? Like, I'm not expecting you to have a fucking match, but you can't even literally walk down the ramp, up the stairs, get in a ring, and hold a microphone inside of a ring. Like, I don't even think he can do that at this point. So, yeah, they got to rethink that. And I think this was their last little dose of nostalgia for a while, because, I mean, WWE's always going to do it, sure, to some extent, but it's run its course now. Like, there's not many more people they can,
so much,
and they bring back the same people over and over again,
over
to do the same thing. This was a bit different because, of course, after we had the the whole shenanigans with Jimmy Hart and Hulk Hogan, and Jimmy looked way better than him, by the way. He
definitely did.
And he's
but also, I will say this too: they handled Raw Triple X way better than they handled it. And I'm not going to say Raw 30. I'm going to call it Triple X.
Yeah. Oh, it's what it was called. That's what it was called.
Yeah, exactly. I know.
And
they handled it way better than they did.
I like Raw XXX, but Triple X is good too. Triple X.
Yeah. Triple X actually does make me feel like Vin Diesel should.
Yeah, see, that's why I go with XXX.
Yeah, so XXX. So Raw XXX was they did way better than Raw 25. Remember that nightmare?
Night and day better.
Didn't they do it in they did it in 2 venues?
Yep.
It was like the original Raw venue in New York,
and then some other stadium, like,
and then
20 minutes down the road, like
in Brooklyn or something.
Yeah. And they made a big deal about someone went from one to the other, and it's like a 30-minute.
Like, oh wow, they crossed town.
Wow, yeah, exactly. Like, what they made a big deal of it, and like it shouldn't have been. I remember that. I also remember that was the night that DX buried the Revival.
Yes.
Might have been they didn't know, because they did that thing with Seth at one of the WrestleManias where he wanted to be NWO and do a Too Sweet, and they wouldn't let him in the circle to do the Too Sweet. That was that was at like the Mania or something. I can't remember now.
All right, so here I just pulled up. I just Googled what happened on Raw 25.
All right, what happened?
So they were at the Manhattan Center to make it look like just the original set. I can't believe I'm digging this deep into something I hated.
Ico Pro posters everywhere. Yeah.
Stephanie and Shane McMahon kicked it off. Stone Cold showed up.
Right.
Did some stunning.
Did some stunning.
Absolution Nia Jax, Alicia Fox versus Sasha Banks, Mickey James, Asuka, and Bailey.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a grade of C. Undertaker returned.
Yeah,
See.
it was another Legends night. They did a ton of Legends.
Oh, there was
shit.
another poker game.
Was there a
Boogeyman
poker
scares,
game
and
on
there
that
was
one?
in another segment, Ted DiBiase joined Heath Slater, Rhino, and the Acolyte Protection Agency (APA) in a backstage poker game. Jeff Hardy, Montel Porter, the Usos, and others later joined. Dana Brooke helped out by tracking the game's stats. Eventually, Slater was caught cheating, and a fight nearly broke out.
See, okay, here's my whole deal with the poker games. I'm not even mad that they do that as fill-in fun little content to splice in with throwing a legend in, having a funny line, and doing all that. But the problem with what they did on this last show is there really wasn't any character development or feud or angle that progressed out of it. It was just there. Use that to progress something you're going to do. The perfect way you could have done that in this situation would have obviously been with Baron Corbin. Why was this not to set something up for his next feud involving JBL? And if you need, you can still do the whole some sort of joke with IRS, but you sort of even function it all around Baron Corbin, and now we have something. You can also do now you can do some stuff too with someone mentioned this as a really good point. Alondra Blaze is sitting there. Wouldn't her use be better served in a backstage segment with her talking to a younger female talent, giving her life lessons or something, giving her the way to move forward in better herself in the WWE, stopping her from going to the poker game, for instance, maybe like, no, you're too young, kid, walks out with her, what have you, something like that. Now we've got like a mentorship. We've got something going on. Something that drives a story is fine if you're going to do these dumb little segments. Those were a letdown for me, but that was kind of, I'm not going to say an anomaly for this show, but it was. We had
real quick. There were just a couple other things that I got to mention from 25 that I forgot about.
From 25, yeah.
Dude, so from 25 years ago, The Miz beat Roman Reigns for the Intercontinental Championship on that night via pinfall.
The Miz, 5 years ago, The Miz beat Roman Reigns for the IC. Wow. That's interesting to think about. That's...
Yeah.
Trying to remember that feud.
Like, the Miz wins via pinfall to win the Intercontinental.
Did Maurice get involved or something? Like
there was an exposed turnbuckle.
Okay, yeah, I mean it had to have been something.
Yeah, there was a peep show with Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan. Don't know why this article is showing me a picture of Christian Cage and Seth Rollins. Bray Wyatt wrestled woken Matt Hardy.
Okay.
Elias clashed with Chris Jericho and John Cena.
Okay.
Apparently that happened. I don't remember that at all.
Elias, Chris Jericho, John Cena. What, in a triple threat?
The first sentence of reading this match threw me through a loop. The Bella Twins, Maurice, Kelly, Lillian Garcia, Jacqueline, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Terry Reynolds, Maria Kanellis, and Trish Stratus all took the stage as WWE honored women of the past. Later, Jericho sang to Elias backstage and sang to him, putting the Drifter on his famous list. List was happening.
It was list time. All right.
Elias soon played his guitar in the Barclays Center, so they were in Brooklyn. That would make sense.
Yeah.
He mocked Raw's legends before John Cena showed up. The men barked at each other before getting physical. Elias won thanks to a low blow and a guitar shot to the head. Wow.
Okay.
Well, I guess a legend putting someone over.
Yeah. That's something.
Yeah. Now, sorry, there was also some sort of showdown between Brock Lesnar, Kane, and Braun Strowman.
Kane. and Braun Strowman. Okay. Brock Lesnar, Kane, Braun Strowman. All right. See what they're doing here. I guess that was
all right. I had to go down that rabbit
no,
hole.
no, you're right. You're right. Well, yeah, I mean, considering all that you just said happened 5 years ago on 25, yes, this was a lot better. As XXX,
yeah, we've come a long way.
We've come a long way. That I mean, that started at the beginning. Then, really, I mean, nothing Legends related at all, which is interesting because it seemed like.
But this
it
segment
was originally
will be legendary.
Oh yeah, I mean, but here's the deal: was probably supposed to contain Legends in it. We were told that originally until Rikishi, Aka, and Sika got sick, and they couldn't make the acknowledgement ceremony or whatever they were going to call it. That then they pivoted somehow into this trial of
whatever
Sami
they
Zayn.
pivoted into was amazing.
I think that this was always
kind of the plan.
Yeah, I don't think it was that hard of a pivot. I think they just were like, okay, we just got to change a couple things and move things around. But
instead of it happening during the acknowledgement ceremony and these other older guys wondering why this guy's here and like making a case
and it would I think it was always somehow I think it was always going to be a trial of Sami Zayn. And I think that was going to be the twist that was always going to get there. What was going to be weird, I think what they were going to do is that actually Rikishi was going to take the side of Sami Zayn, much like Jimmy and Jay did, and Afa and Sika would have taken the side of Roman Reigns. And I think there would have been I think they were doing the same thing. The same end goal was there. They just had to get there a different way. And whatever they did, sometimes the WWE works best under pressure. No matter what regime you're under, whether it's Triple H or Vince McMahon creatively.
Well, because you actually have a deadline that you have to get. So like whatever you're like, all right, yes, go with that. You have no chance to change it. You just have to go with it.
And I think you don't, I don't think you have enough time to script everything out perfectly, right? You just have to, like, here's the bullet points, here's the story. You guys go out there and just do it. And it seems very much to me that this has been happening a lot with the Sami Zayn bloodline thing in general. There might be key phrases that they absolutely have to say, so on and so forth. But I have a feeling they are much less scripted than a lot of other acts in WWE. And it's for the betterment of it that this kind of had this natural feeling to the whole bit, right? Natural in a wrestling way when you're on trial and people have preloaded clips and what have you, right? Right. Whatever.
I also love, like, so when Jay, I mean, how could we not all love Jay coming to Sammy's defense, right?
I mean, it was
the
the one that you'd never expect, right? That's part of the story, absolutely.
But he said, last night I made a video edit myself, or made a video myself. So I'm just like picturing him, at some like Courtyard Marriott, like on iMovie or Premiere or Final Cut, like pulling, like looking like, when was that? Like pulling shit. He's like, I can't get the rights. I got to pull it off YouTube. He's like ripping things, like,
If they were smart, they would have just done it like on WWE's YouTube. Yo, I found these clips on YouTube. WWE's already uploaded those clips. And he's got like, and it shows like YouTube, right? And it shows like, yo, no, check this out. Check this out. I found this on YouTube. Bringing the YouTube as like an entity that you should be paying attention to as a fan, as an advertising thing, but also like a logical way that somebody would do that in this day and age. I put a playlist together of these videos of like, cause he's not there editing video, but something easy he could do on his phone
I know,
is
but
fine. You know what I mean? Like, I think people would.
I know, but I think it's funny because it makes you buy into it more that he took his
He took his
evening the
time.
night
Yeah,
before
yeah.
and looked up stuff and edited this shit together. And he put
Sure.
the beginning like Exhibit A. He put Exhibit B.
He made his titles. Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
he's like Charlie in Always Sunny. He's got, all these red lines
And somehow
strings.
has the same exact font and structure as Paul Heyman's previous one. Somehow those are they use the same workstation. Paul Heyman went and did his, and he was like, he left his
they did.
Yeah, he left his
They did
template
on the computer
up.
in the lobby.
Yeah, he left his
template.
He left his template up, and so Jay just he's like, "This is perfect."
Jay's like, "Dude, this is perfect."
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
this kind of looks like Law and Order. I love it.
I'm in, like, Paul, like, I don't agree with you, but here's my defense. The whole segment, though, fantastic. Everyone, every single person in it, every aspect, every moving part, every line of dialogue, every facial interaction. I couldn't have been happier. And some people are complaining that it went too long. Some people are saying that it was just too long. And I can see that when you're angry that you didn't get your cage match later on in the evening. Totally get that. But
they could have cut other shit. We'll talk about that later.
They could have cut other shit. And this was the exact appropriate amount of time.
It was so fucking good. It's everything that this is going to go down in history, or it has gone down as one of the best wrestling. It already was an amazing wrestling story and one of the best, but one of the best segments, hands down. This is what you love, or what I love about pro wrestling. I guess I won't tell.
I mean, we talked about it. We talked about it. Like, it was just.
But the emotion. So, like, when they go through everything, right, and then when Roman says it, he just goes Solo. Like, he screamed it, just angry, right? And Solo's there with the thumb. He's ready, and then Jay comes up, like. And the fact that Sammy,
every single one of us are screaming, "No, not tonight, not like this, not tonight, not like this, not tonight, not like this."
But the fact that Sammy just said, like, you know what, he was like, I had some stuff, but you're gonna think what you're gonna think. And he was just kind of like, I'm done. You know?
Sorry about that. I don't know why that happened.
No radio show.
Sorry,
we are on No Media, but different show.
Something decided it was just play that.
It's clips time.
I guess so, but I don't got no clips.
I don't know. Maybe show the guys the clip of this segment. You know?
Yeah. Well,
right.
I don't think I have the time on the show.
I don't think you have an hour. That's a whole extra segment to the show. But that whole thing with every single one of them, their acting, and everyone deserves kudos throughout that entire thing. The whole thing drew you in. It was believable, and it was such an arc in the story that they've been building to for so long. It was so fucking good.
And it gave us payoff without giving us the full payoff. Like, it got,
because now I have a million theories.
Yeah, because it started so many different, splinters of how this could go, which makes it so much more interesting. And that's a huge part of why this succeeded. But of course, following this segment of Sammy saying, after being, basically put on trial, like, by Paul Heyman, to be kicked out of the bloodline, for Jay to step up and defend him after Sammy says he has no defense, for Roman to say, "You're not guilty for now, but I don't want to see you until Saturday." It's all very interesting stuff, considering of course the Royal Rumble is on Saturday.
I thought fucking Sammy was gonna show up tonight. This was one of the theories I had.
Mm-hmm.
Now that SmackDown's over, we can talk about it, because I am
he
looking
did.
At the results right now.
He did.
Oh, okay. But did Roman see him?
I have to assume that he will know about this. He because it was obviously
painted Zayn's face in the closing moments of the show as he realized he not only failed, but he did so.
Sami Zayn pulled
his appearance on the show.
In the match with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn pops up and he pulls Solo out of the ring. Referee clears out. We don't get an announcement, but Solo Sikoa wins by disqualification, presumably.
So this totally didn't happen the way that I thought. So apparently Reigns is going to be on Jimmy Fallon tonight.
Yes.
So he is, quote, preparing himself for that. So it wasn't on the show. I had a theory. I have multiple other theories. One of my theories was that Reigns was going to be at SmackDown. Sammy was going to cross paths with him and he was going to see him, and Heyman was going to be the one who told Sammy to show up to SmackDown to do something.
No matter how,
and it's actually a Heyman thing where Heyman is the one fucking things up.
Well, I mean, it could be.
But
it could be that.
It didn't happen.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen. But you know, I guess what the takeaway from tonight is that, you know, he did two things here. He helped the bloodline because he helped Solo escape a defeat, right?
Yep.
But he also defied the tribal chief's edict that he not see him until Saturday. But you're right.
But the argument could be made that
technically
he's not there.
hasn't seen him. So that's how Sammy can get out of it. What then is the challenge, the final task for Sami Zayn to prove himself? It has, I mean, we all have, right? We're all thinking it's him. He has to join the Royal Rumble. He has to be in and win the Rumble. Like that's to me what the story is. It's, and then that is going to go even further where he has to win the Elimination Chamber. And we'll save some of this talk for just a bit when we get into speculation and prediction when it comes to the Royal Rumble. But let's just finish up a little bit of talk when it comes to Raw XXX. The whole Jimmy getting injured midway through the match of the Usos
such good storytelling
versus Judgment Day was perfect. Judgment Day were perfect. The dynamic between Dom and Damian Priest is hilarious in the ring. They figured out how to make the Usos faces for the night and still kept the aura of the Judgment Day. They then, of course, had, and that was before the twist of the match and the turn. And Sammy, you got to remember, Sammy had to make things right tonight. I can't remember what the wording was, but Roman basically told him, "You better not fuck up tonight. Like you gotta make shit right tonight." And you know, and boy did he, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you know, we obviously have the injury of kayfabe injury. Hopefully, I'm sure it is with Jimmy. Sammy taking his place, the match restarting. I said to you at the time, oh, I'd be pissed if I was Judgment Day. That doesn't seem fair. But they did get that same treatment in the gauntlet the week before or something.
Yeah, with Finn. Yeah.
So this fits nicely into that narrative. Sammy steps in, really, really fucking helps save the match. At the end of the day, they do the 1D and perfectly with Sammy taking Jimmy's role in it. And 1, 2, 3, Sammy saves himself again. And I actually really enjoyed the chemistry between Sami Zayn and Jey Uso in the ring.
So good.
And I want more of that. And it adds that credence to, oh, he's Usi. He's really actually Usi. Like they blend well. So anyway, that anything to add to that opening segment, match, everything? Because it was unbelievable.
I think you covered tons of it, and I think the fact that they gave it that first hour was amazing.
Commercial free too.
Yeah,
that whole
kudos to everyone who was involved in it, and Judgment Day as well.
Yeah.
So
can't go
yeah,
go
I
without
can't
being
say I can't
sad.
anything I say right now is just going to be agreeing with you, so I'm not going to waste anyone's time.
Fair. Now, LA Knight, Bray Wyatt is another thing that has to be addressed, with, of course, Biker Taker on a very slow
American badass.
Watch me slowly roll out from the back of the thing, and maybe
And then he couldn't get it started.
Can't get it started because I'm such a badass.
Did you see the guy ringside? He's like, just turn the
yeah,
thing.
the guy he's like, you need to turn the key on, bro.
Not a good look, man.
Yeah. It wasn't that cool.
Hey,
wasn't
dude,
that badass.
Taker looked. I mean, he took it around the ring so slow, which he should.
It looked American. It didn't look very badass. It looked very American.
It did look American. It did not look badass. I will say, good old Mark Calloway, man. He's given us so much of not only his life, but like his body. And just watching him like step up the steel stairs to get into the, and then like kind of standing and moving the ring. I'm like, you just look like you hurt. Like like you look like you're just one swollen fucking like joint that like has arthritis, whole thing. You're just that, and it just, you look in pain. And
you're
thank you so much.
You're one swollen joint with eyeliner is what you are.
Yes. And thank you for everything you've done for my entertainment and everyone else's. So I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying it looks very uncomfortable and you look like you're in pain.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be doing that in his one-man show. You can see it tonight. Right
now.
He's
wearing the shirt.
Probably like right now that's going on. One-man show. Hour and 30 minutes of The Undertaker giving you a TED Talk if you're into that. But anyway.
Do you ever hope to one day give a one-man show?
Oh, I'm going to do it. I mean, I'll do it.
Be just a room full of people and you just walk out and you're like, so I guess this is what I'm going to talk about tonight.
Minus you, I'm doing a one-man show right now. Like, I'm only one person away. Like, it's not that far.
Me too.
Yeah, see? You're both doing one-man show. Okay, so I'm not into this whole Uncle Howdy thing. We'll see how it shapes up. I've saw some interviews today with Bray that make it a little bit more interesting, I guess. They're, sort of in character, out of character, blended, sort of that thing with Bray that he does with like that shit.
Yeah, whatever. This has to either be fucking amazingly cool,
or it's
not going to be like, because
or it's like another
because this burn up to it has taken way too fucking long.
Yep,
and the fact that we're not actually even getting a match.
There's one really good thing. There's one really good thing about all of this. Fucking LA Knight has got to shine.
He's come out of this.
Has come out of this like a goddamn superstar, and it doesn't matter if he loses, which he will. I'm assuming.
Yeah, but he did get the run. Yeah,
he's the most important person about this feud now. Like, I don't care about Bray and all this spooky bullshit. I want to see what they're doing with LA Knight, and I fucking...
Can I get a yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. I can't really do him yet, but he's got a good yeah. And I'll tell you what, fans are responding to him really positively.
As they should.
The lights out pitch black Mountain Dew match.
That's not in pitch black because it'll have neon.
See, that does sound kind of cool to me.
It kind of does, but again, you're not, unless it's in the ring and you get to see something with Bray. It's kind of like he said, I'll come back, but I don't really have to do any wrestling in the ring.
Yeah, I don't do that like work rate shit.
Yeah, I do like the cinematic work.
I mean, I'll do a move here and there. I'm good at my sister Abigail and one or two. Like, I'll do my spider thing. My ups.
I'm not a fan of the spider thing.
That thing does get me though. I like it.
It's creepy. Yeah. It's fucking creepy. I don't like it. That's why I'm saying I don't like it, because it's creepy.
I don't know.
And also, if I tried that fucking anywhere in my house alone, I would get half a step before I fell over. The fact that he can do more.
Yeah. I do have to sort of make fun of this though, because I am over all the supernatural shit in wrestling. Like, I'm done. Like, I feel like I'm over it. Like, it doesn't. I understand it had its place when I was a kid and the Undertaker existed. If we're trying to be serious about this, like, can we just like sure, make it like psychotic and like manipulation and things like
fucking
that.
with your mind.
Like, fucking with your mind shit. That's fine. That's cool. Get that. That's cool. But this whole like, I'm like can teleport, or I'm the Undertaker and like I just disappear, like, oh shit, like he has the power of the lights and stuff like that. It's kind of stupid. So like like this whole deal with like, we've got the Undertaker, so passing the torch to Bray Wyatt, right, on Raw XXX, where he was about to chokeslam LA Knight after Bray like sort of forced him into the ring next to the Undertaker. Undertaker catches him, he's about to do it, but he's like, no, okay, Bray, you take him, and throws him to Bray's sister Abigail.
It was a good passing of the torch.
Okay, then he goes and whispers some shit in his fucking ear, right? And Bray today was like, no one will know what that is. It's the between me, Taker, God, and the devil. Okay, Bray, fine. Like, you could have just said like Applebee's tonight. Like later on Applebee's.
Also, real quick, sorry to bring back to AEW.
Applebee's.
MJF did say something about, he said that if you want to dance with the devil, you better be able to keep up with the tempo, or like something like that. That line was so fucking good. It was like, if you got to want to dance with the tempo, you better be able to keep up with the tempo, or
on his last promo
or something like that. It was, his last promo, the backstage one, but it was fucking really good. But yes, he probably did say, hey, I forgot how to turn the motorcycle.
yeah. How do I start that thing? You know how to start that thing?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here? Is this the one-man show?
Don't laugh if I fall down when I'm walking down them stairs. Like, don't distract the audience. Do some spooky shit.
Yeah. Or just like, get out of this while you can with your body.
Become a real man. become a don't and when I think about it, is that could be funny too. People are keep saying Undertaker passed the torch. Undertaker passed the torch to Bray Wyatt. Finally, we've been waiting for years for Undertaker to pass the torch. Like, with our spooky, we need the spooky guy to pass the torch to the other spooky guy. But the thing is, and I think this is purposeful, because I think, what is his name? Mark Calloway? Mark Calloway?
Yeah, Mark Calloway.
Mark Calloway. Mark Calloway is a grumpy piece of shit, right? I think Mark Calloway thinks a little highly of himself as the Undertaker.
Yeah.
I think it's purposeful that the passing of the torch was done by the American Badass. Undertaker did not pass the torch. In my mind, the American Badass version of the Undertaker passed the torch to Bray Wyatt. Mark Calloway, in a sense, passed the torch to Bray Wyatt, not the Undertaker. And that's going to be, you watch, that's his little thing in his head that's like, I never endorsed him like that,
Yeah, I never gave him the Taker rub. I gave him the American Badass
Yeah.
rub. Also, what he whispered to him was, he's like, JoJo sent Michelle the video from the hotel room last night after we left Applebee's. Saw you walking like a goddamn spider, fucking cook, or something like that, He's like, Bray's like practicing the fucking upside down thing in the hotel room with JoJo. He's like, look, I can do it from the fucking bathroom to the bed.
I still got it. Look at me. Yeah.
He's like, wait, JoJo, turn off the lights. He like runs into the bed from the bathroom. He's like, turn it on.
He's got his iPhone in there playing his his theme. He's like,
boo, boo. She's like, wait, what the fuck is your brother doing in here? Uncle Howdy's in the
He's in the shower. He's in the shower. He just opens up the shower curtain. We do have good minds for wrestling, for sure. DX did a thing. They didn't bury everybody this time completely. I guess the team they endorsed sort of buried the team that came out with Imperium. I do at least feel that that's Triple H when he goes like face to face with, Gunther, and he steps up to him like the big badass, but then like fucking like does, well, I'm retired and like I can't do this and whatever, walks away or whatever.
Yeah.
At least that could be even said as a passing of the torch in a sense. Like that was an
It's
that was a
like
shining
a laying down.
I do think it was a bit of an endorsement for Imperium and more than DX have done in the past in these types of shows. The Kurt Angle stuff was funny. I gotta hand it to him there.
That was really good.
That was pretty
All
fucking
the different
funny.
shirts. Yeah.
Do you realize that Kurt Angle, members of both DX now and the Shield? remember when he was the Shield?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember
Roman was out with leukemia, I think, or something. And then
I hadn't remembered.
He looked like he looked like their dumb. He looked like their dumb little brother.
Because he's wearing all the black and the potato head with a vest. Yeah.
Kurt Angle. but this was good. I enjoyed it.
Did you I didn't notice it during the show, but I noticed it after when I saw the articles. But Triple H Hunter saying it to Sean, and you could hear it on the mic where he's like, stop turning your back to hard cam.
Was he saying he was saying it to Sean? Is that who he was doing?
Yeah, because then you see, so then they're on the corner next to the ramp and they're shooting up, and you see Sean, he has his back to the hard cam and he jumps up in the air and does a 180. So he's facing the hard cam and he goes,
fucking A. God
really
damn it.
Funny.
God damn it, Sean. God damn it. But that's also probably part of their humor too. He's fucking around. They're fucking around with each other. Like
I hope
Sean's fucking around with him, and I guarantee.
And I think Trips knows not to say that into the mic too.
Yeah, that was DX, like, when Sean was being a dumbass all the time, and like.
Well, and then he turned around like,
what? Yeah, it's Sean.
It is pretty funny.
I also like there was a good X-Pac tweet the following day. That was something like, I forget exactly what he said, but like it was like layered in sarcasm.
You want me to pull it?
Yeah, if you can find it real quick, Sean Waltman, I'm sure. But it was layered in sarcasm, and it was something like, it felt so good to bury all those guys last night on like DX to bury, like it was about that. It was about, and people took it the wrong way. He was people are just too sensitive. People took it completely the opposite way of what he was meaning it. He meant it was like drenched in sarcasm. And he got some flack for it, but
what date was the
so it would have been it would have been probably the following day or the day after.
Let's say the 7th, so that was
it's the 27th, so was
3rd?
it
The 23rd?
Yep, 23rd.
All right, people tweet a lot, so you gotta like scroll.
Yeah. So it would have been.
Oh wait, sorry, I'm there. 22nd. Gotta go up.
Yeah,
he's promoting wrestling.
He tweets a lot about dogs. I know that.
I've seen a lot about WrestleCon.
Yeah, he probably does a lot of that too. He's got to make his cash.
Kurt Angle appreciation tweet. He's the fucking best.
Yeah.
Is that putting that segment together is one of the funnest times I've had in forever. The only thing that sucked was not being able to hit our finishes on the guys who have to draw money after we're gone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Say it. Read it again. So many people took this the wrong way.
Putting that segment together was one of the funnest times I've had in forever. The only thing that sucked was not being able to hit our finishes on the guys who have to draw money after we're gone.
He's He's acknowledging that shit's happened and it was shitty, and obviously people are like, well, you did still kind of bury blah blah blah, and like, come on, like, no, that DX segment for a DX segment was fine. It was amusing. It was exactly what it needed to be. It got the Street Profits and Seth Rollins out. It got Teddy Long out to do a dumb thing with Kurt Angle to have a match with Imperium. I don't necessarily like that Imperium lost the match, but I suppose this is all building in my head towards a Seth Rollins Gunther feud. That's what I would. That's what I take out of this. They'll probably both be in the Rumble, and they will probably both have something to do with each other, and that might be why who eliminates Seth from the Rumble, who is, certainly on the short list of people that could potentially win it. But that would also kind of like make sense how they do it. That being said, there's not a ton more from Raw Triple X I want to talk about. Like the Austin Theory, the Austin Theory match with Lashley. It was another one of those matches that we've seen before. Having Brock return is clearly a big deal, and it was a cool looking F5 on Lashley and a cool looking F5 on Theory on top of Lashley to win the match. But that felt like the most like boring part of most of the show. I guess apart from the women's matches, which were all sort of wrong.
Which they could have cut the other women's match.
Yeah, and still had the cage match.
They didn't need, I guess they tried to have the need for Flair to come out, which is why maybe they didn't cut it.
Yeah, I heard that theory. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah, because that could have just been a backstage segment.
But I feel like you could have done just the angle thing with Flair and Bianca without the Sonya Deville match.
Yeah.
And you could have then given that time to the cage match. But I heard Lance Storm talk about it, and I trust Lance Storm's wrestling brain. And he said that what he thinks probably happened is that they really had a really good match planned in their head. And they were going to be given, maybe originally they were going to be given 16 minutes or something. But then that got chopped to 13, 12. It keeps dropping, whatever it is. And they had a really good match planned. So they'd rather just not do the match and do the angle as to save the match for later. And I think that logic does make some sense. It's like, I'd rather have no time and just not do the match than I would have my match shortened so dramatically I can't tell the story I want to tell. So I think they did that. I think I think that might have been sort of their choice too. I don't know, but I can see some of the logic with all of that. Again, nothing. I mean, I don't know what you're doing with Charlotte. I guess then, like, with WrestleMania, all of this remains to be seen with who wins the Rumble, how that all goes. But right now, for me, it's Bianca versus the winner of the Rumble, and Charlotte, Ronda. Like, I don't know. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, I think because next week it's her and Sonya again. That happened tonight. So
I mean, unless they could. If they were to still, I always say it, I feel like Shayna Baszler is always there in case break glass, in case a fire break. Like, I still feel like that you could pull the trigger on her any moment if you wanted to, especially if you want to have her win that goddamn Elimination Chamber again, like in dominant fashion, like she did that first time around and they gave up on her. If you repeated that and did that again, you can easily have her built back up overnight to that next level. Yeah. I just don't know. I just don't think they will. Do you want to get into full speculation, full prediction Rumble mode?
Ooh. Yeah, full prediction.
Oh, we gotta go. I'm blue, dabba dee dabba 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 dee dabba da. That's the song this time. It's almost WrestleMania. This will be played for the next time. Dabba dabba da. That's their song now, right? It's their song. That's their song now. It's like it's all blue dabba dee. It's all that's their new jam. That's
all
this
blue,
new.
Imagine writing that shit on a piece of paper and being like, "Guys, I got it."
Well,
I tell you,
you know what I'm talking. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like the song that they are pumping through our brains, which is just the remix of "Blue" from
it's always
Eiffel
some
65,
song,
and like. What were some of the other good ones?
What else did Eiffel 65 do? Didn't they do something else?
It was just that Blue. That was it. It's
okay.
I got a good feeling. Yeah. I feel like
that's not them.
No, it's not them. But I'm just trying to think of other big wrestling songs lately. Like that one was one. I got a feeling that I never.
Yeah, what was the one for Mania that we were there?
Just give me the green light.
Give me the green light. Oh my god! If I never hear that song again, it'll be too soon.
It's permanently in my brain. Like I can't not have it. It's
Dude,
there.
Sometimes I do wake up, just it's there. I'm not joking.
Yeah. No,
we're like the Roxbury. Yeah,
it's just part of our being now. It's part. Human beings, evolutionary wise, like they will us as a race will die off, right? Our DNA will get transported to another alien race somehow, and a billion years in the future, after they re-evolve us, right? Some guy will recreate that fucking song because it is so embedded in us that it will.
I'm listening to an Eiffel 65 song while you're saying that, just your diatribe with this as the theme music behind it. It's amazing. I'm listening to "Move Your Body," which is apparently
is their second
other
biggest
hit song.
hit?
I don't recognize it. It's three guys.
Yeah, no, they were kind of a one hit.
They look like they belong in NXT.
All right. Well, I'm sure they probably.
That'd be so funny if they showed up. Maybe they enter the Rumble.
Maybe they. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your last minute speculations. Who's showing up in the men's, women's Rumbles? Who's you got? It's like just random surprises. Yeah, I got a bunch. Edge. Yeah, I feel like that's a given. I'm not gonna pop that much for that because I find Edge boring.
Me neither, but I
find Edge boring. I would pop more if it was Randy Orton, to be honest with you.
Oh, that's a huge pop. But they can't do that with Cody.
I don't know. I think that might really. They've been quiet on him as far as his injury updates and stuff. I think it might be a possibility. Just speculating here. This is speculation, of course, for everyone. I think Orton's a big one. I think we get a couple celebrities.
So I think there could be one main celebrity. This is fantasy booking. It would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
But this would. Did you ever watch The Boys on Amazon? Do you know
the Homelander guy? Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah, have you seen his arc? Do you know?
He's basically Cody Rhodes. Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah, but
I know he's a dickhead and stuff. I don't know. I haven't watched enough.
Yeah, but there's so much weird stuff. He drinks this woman's tit milk and pretends to be a baby. It's so weird.
Okay,
but Cody Rhodes probably does the same.
Mm.
Just joking.
He would
But,
drink brandies.
dude,
He would.
okay,
He
no,
would.
this is how you one up Cody Rhodes. You want to one up Cody Rhodes? I figured it out. This is how you do it. And instead of opening the forbidden door, you break those walls down.
No way.
What if
No.
it'll never happen? But just I said it was fantasy booking. I said it was fantasy, but imagine the world.
I think. I mean, I would fucking.
There-
I would
and
be
the
all
way-
about
the-
it.
The
I would
way
be-
the way that my subconscious like told me about this was because I was like, if they're gonna sell, Vince is like, guess what? I can get them all in there. We're gonna have a Legends night and
One
then a
last
Rumble,
time,
blah blah blah, and
fucking,
like I can do it, and we'll raise the stakes, and we'll raise this fucking stock up. Blah,
Jericho,
blah, blah, and we'll
give me
sell this
that
motherfucker.
give me that little punk Tony's number. Come on.
Did you just sneeze? Deals off.
I mean, I will. I want it.
It's not going to happen.
No,
it's not going to happen. But how amazing would that? How big of a pop would you get?
Think about it too. If like
The countdown clock
Kenny
is
Omega,
the only one that
or
changed,
something.
and it was the Jericho countdown clock from when he debuted, and then it was
it writes
how
itself.
fucking great would that be?
It would be awesome. I think more likely though, you could get a repeat of Bad Bunny. I feel like that's like an easy one. I feel like
100% with the way they're advertising the video game.
Pat McAfee. Like I feel like
100%. I think he's been
there.
squirming about it too on his shows when people ask him. Do you think you get a Logan Paul?
It sounds like his rehabilitation has gone a lot better than they originally thought. He's young. He might be able to rebound if he's healthy enough.
Fucking stem cells.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like those are my three. Like they're obvious, like celebrity ones, but that's kind of where you're at right now. I feel like with that, and you've already got like
you also don't need any more celebrities.
No, you don't. And we've already got like with those three, you've got three celebrities that are actually like good in the ring. They've all proven that they can be good in the ring, so they can hold themselves just fine in a Rumble. Like they don't need. Yeah. It's not like throwing Drew Carey in there, right? Like it's
yeah, exactly.
You're putting someone, of esteem in there. The big rumor this past week, because of his New Japan contract status, has been one Jay White, and while I think that's an interesting proposition, and I could possibly, I could possibly,
it's gonna fall so fucking flat. If it does, it's gonna fall so fucking flat.
And I think no matter he fell flat in AEW.
It's not happening.
And AEW audiences are a lot more forgiving and a lot more intelligent about other wrestling in the world. A WWE audience isn't gonna have a single fucking clue who Jay White is. The only way that you could make that work is if AJ Styles was in that Rumble and you associated him with a Bullet Club type thing. You might be able to
You have to start telling that story beforehand.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Is there a chance that we get I've heard this thrown around because he's on his retirement tour. What about the Great Muta as an entrant,
Isn't he done?
He still has 2 more matches, bro.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
I thought he was done.
I kept saying this too, and I heard it the other day. I'm like, wait, I said the same exact thing. Because I thought the Sting Darby match was the last one. No. He's got 2 more. It's a retirement tour. So he's doing a series of shows. Some of them is Great Muta. Some of them is Muto, where he has no mask. And I think he's got 2 more matches left. He's got at least one. And it was a series of 4 or 5 different matches that it's the Great Muto retirement tour. So I think he might have retired the Great Muta, but he's still going to wrestle as...
No, he has one more match.
One more.
As Muto, and it's February 21st.
Okay, well then, so there you go.
Against Naito.
Still technically active. Could be technically a Rumble participant. Just
I think you'd
saying.
have to be if I didn't get that right off the bat, the casual WWE fan who's turning into Royal Rumble is not going to get that.
He would have to almost be Muda to do it. He would have to.
Yeah.
He would have to be Muda. He'd have to be Muda, blow out the mist, or you have him. Maybe you could do something cool with him and Asuka, right? Like that would be kind of cool. Like they could be mist buddies or something, and like, and
they just shouldn't do it though.
No, you're probably right. Anyway,
I don't think it's a good idea.
No,
that's just me though.
All right, fine.
That's just me.
Sean Waltman, 123 Kid, X-Pac, has been rumored for this Rumble, but he shut those rumors down pretty significantly. I kind of want that to be a work, but I don't think it is. He's probably not in there. It would have been nice though. Matt Cardona's showing up.
That could be a big one.
Matt Cardona's showing up. I think, and he's showing up as fucking Zack Ryder. You watch. You watch.
What about what's his name? I almost call him fucking Sean White. Sean Spears. Ty Dillinger.
He's still signed to AEW.
I know. I don't know. He's not doing anything. So
yeah, no.
Just
I don't think.
Figured we could all.
No. He's not going there. He's not doing that. Ty Dillinger just had a baby. Sean Spears, him and who he had a baby with, right? Peyton Royce. One half of the Iconics there. Yeah. He's
good for them.
She's not quite 30 yet, and he's 40 something. So good on them. Yeah. First kid, dirty old man. Good on him. But I don't think he's showing up in the Rumble.
You think they did it on a chair?
A bent bloody chair.
Yeah.
It was the same one. It still got Cody's fibers in the side.
Yeah, Jesus. Who else we got?
What surprises, all that? I mean, there's some on the women's side too. Obviously, we don't have to stick with the men's.
Yeah,
Naomi.
That's a big one.
It's got to be right.
What if all this was work and fucking Monet? It's not happening, but
if they could pull that off,
pop of all pop,
I'd give him a lot of goddamn credit.
I'd give him credit too. And like a full re-representation, she owns her shit. She's the CEO.
Be pretty fucking badass.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens though. I
don't think so either.
What about Mandy Rose? I think it might. I don't know. One night appearance. Keep I think she'd do that. No. I think she would. I think they would.
I don't think they will.
No,
they don't need to.
Mickey James.
Why would they do that?
Bring back Mickey James again.
They'll do Mickey James again.
Trying to think who else they could pull in. Trish again, Lita again.
Yeah,
we're gonna go down this road because that seems like I don't know. I don't think that's a good move.
I don't think that's a good move either.
I
think you get a Sarah Logan again.
Yeah, that's fair. I think you get a lot of NXT call-ups in this Rumble with the women because there's only what, like 7 announced. Like
you probably get both of the Toxic Attraction.
Yep. Lacey Evans just popped up back on SmackDown tonight with her heel gimmick.
Another
she'll
new
be in.
Rework,
she'll be in there.
She'll be in. A rework of the same.
I mean, there's a possibility there's no SmackDown women's match, and if you can get Baszler in there, right? Like, I don't know if she's announced or not. I don't think she is.
Yeah,
you can get her in there. You can get Sonya Deville in there. Liv Morgan, I think, is already announced. Yeah, she's announced.
Here, do you want me to look up the
Rumble? Well, no, because it realistically is Rhea's to lose.
Doudrop?
She has. I
know it's a visa issue, but maybe it's cleared. She's been gone for a while.
No, she she was on an interview earlier today. Again, could be kayfabe, could be working us, but she more or less said that she's still kind of dealing with some health issues that I don't believe that she is cleared. Now that could be that could be, false. Again, though, even if Dewdrop's in here, right? We're not expecting her to win this Rumble.
Yeah.
Like it's
Nikki Cross will be in that.
Sure she will. Yeah. I mean, could you put Alondra Blaze in there? Put Medusa in there? Like, I mean, she's been around for this Legends Night thing.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's a
good call.
I could see that. I don't know. I don't really have a ton of options. I think the Women's Rumble is going to be fairly weak this year. And should we just hop right into projections? Because it's about that time anyway.
It is about that time, yeah.
Our predictions champion, Duncan, did send me over his...
Oh, did he?
He did. And so I will go ahead and read his first. And I think it's probably what everybody... He went with the safe bets kind of on everything, to be honest with you. Which I don't blame him, But... he's going with the Women's Rumble winner being, of course, one Rhea Ripley, who I think is the obvious choice to win.
She is the obvious
match.
choice.
It's. I don't blame him for picking that straight off the bat.
Not at all.
I'm gonna try my luck with another match later, but I'm playing the game tonight.
All right.
And I think that it has to be Rhea Ripley to win this match. And I think that Rhea Ripley goes on to WrestleMania to defeat Bianca Belair. I say that, though. I think her and Charlotte could have a banger, and Rhea beating Charlotte might actually work better now that Charlotte's a face. So I'm not going to go on to say that. Rhea goes on to WrestleMania, wins a belt. But Matthew, are you in agreement?
Oh, also, sorry, Men's Rumble, put in Jinder.
Oh, Jinder will be probably in there. I mean, if he's not,
I hope so.
If he's not, he might like NXT. He's been hanging around that NXT.
I know he's been hanging around down there, but
maybe he'll bring up his boys. What are they called? Like, I forgot what they're called. I
don't care. I just want to see Jinder.
Don't hinder.
I'm never hindering, dude. I do miss him.
I know you do. I like him with his... remember years ago I said, Ginger needs that, like, tight, shaved, bald head type look? I said it years ago.
He started losing his hair, and he did it. And he's fucking mean looking.
And it looks fucking rad. I called it years ago. Because
that's now on my bucket list. I'm gonna meet Jinder Mahal one day.
I'm gonna introduce you to him. He lives in
my picture with him.
He lives around the corner. He actually owns a little corner store near me.
Does he?
Yeah. It looks just
Jinder's Mahal.
I mean, it might not be him. It looks like him, though. It looks a lot like him,
Yeah.
Are you going with Rhea?
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley, Women's Royal Rumble match.
I think a lot of this card is fucking pretty.
It is. That's the problem. That's the problem with it. It's so generic and whatever. I'm going to save the Men's Royal Rumble match prediction for last. And we will then hop to one LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt and the the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. And Duncan does have indeed that Bray Wyatt will win the match. What say you, Matthew?
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. The odds are definitely in his favor.
Wouldn't it be great though? Wouldn't it be great if
somehow
LA Knight? Yeah.
What if he just went off script and actually like held him down?
He's like, no.
He's like, I won.
Yeah, I got it.
It's the pitch black screw job.
And he's just
he's just like, yeah.
I'm gonna lose this anyway. I'm gonna go LA Knight. Because here's the deal. Here's the deal. There's all this bullshit with Uncle Howdy. And there's all this bullshit that I feel is going through with Bray Wyatt. And I don't know who's with who. Uncle Howdy seems like he's not necessarily Bray Wyatt's buddy all the time here. So maybe, just maybe, Uncle Howdy screws Bray. And that's leading towards a match later down the line with Uncle Howdy and Bray. And therefore, no, I can't do it. Can I write it down? I can't. Man,
yeah.
I'm trying to convince myself. Are you going with Bray, Matthew?
Yeah, I'm going with Bray.
LA Knight it is. LA Knight it is.
Good for you.
I'm doing it. I'm going there.
Good for you.
Whew. Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. Now, here's the thought process behind my LA Knight. Uncle Howdy bullshit. There's going to be multiple Uncle Howdy bullshits, and one of them will affect the outcome of one of the matches. This match is probably where it could occur as well. There could be Uncle Howdy.
Uncle Howdy gets in the Rumble?
Could be.
Sorry.
Could be, though. No, you're not. Seriously, that's not even the strangest. I haven't heard a lot of people say that, but that could be a possibility. That could be a real possibility. That being said, Duncan has gone with Bianca Belair. I will go with Bianca Belair because I do not see them taking the belt off of Bianca Belair with some Uncle Howdy bullshit and putting it on Alexa Bliss.
Nope.
So you're Bianca too. All right. All three of us Bianca. There we go. Next, I guess it is just the oh no, we got Roman, right? Roman KO. Straight standard singles match. A lot of drama with Sami Zayn. I think that Roman retains. But here's something's off with this. Something, and I think it plays.
What if they open?
Okay, hear me out. I think this match will open the show, by the way. Yes, this match will open the show. Something about this is going to influence the main event of the show, which will be the Men's Royal Rumble.
Which is the Rumble.
And I feel like the Adam Pearce being involved a little bit more lately, especially with kind of like calling this tournament and then calling like the whole, okay, Sammy, you can get in there. I feel like there's going to be some weird shenanigan that is going to allow for Pearce to start the process of the separation of the two belts. That's going to start somehow in the Royal Rumble, with the Royal Rumble. I don't know how. Obviously,
well, they might have to choose which belt they're going to go after.
Obviously, Sammy and KO are going to be a part of this. KO will not walk out a champion. But I'm reluctant to say that KO loses outright. If we have to do it by WWE terms, Roman is the winner. But it will be by an egregious DQ of some description in which Sami Zayn is involved and leads you trying to decide which side Sammy is on.
So imagine this.
So yeah, Roman will win. This. Roman will win, as Duncan has also said, by the way.
Roman has something. Imagine this. Roman says you have to do one last thing, right? So he says, make sure I retain my titles. you know, something like that.
Yeah.
Sammy does something to fuck it up, so KO loses. Sammy enters the Rumble. KO enters the Rumble. They're one of the last two,
Mm-hmm.
and then KO steps over the fucking top rope, looks at him, says something, and fucking
Oh
hops
my
off.
God! Sacrifices him so Sammy has to make the
So
right decision.
and their whole plan all along,
Oh,
or something
jeez.
like that.
I want that to happen so bad. I want that to happen so bad. But you are going with
And
Roman.
he's like, "Go get him." That would be so good, so fucking good. And he does, or when he's at the edge after he steps over and he's on the edge, he does the for life that fucking Sammy did when he was in Montreal at the top of the War Games. And he looks at him, he does the for life and fucking jumps down.
I love what you're doing with this, and
God damn,
I think it's
so good.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a lot better than what's actually going to happen. But I don't know. We don't know. Well, remains to be
I don't know,
seen.
but Roman titles. Yeah.
So then, of course, we get to the finale here, which I do think this this Rumble has a lot of potential, and even if it's just Matt Cardona, right? I think we'll have one or two more. I think we might have like, I forgot this one. I think we get the debut of Dragon Lee in this Rumble. I think that's perfect for him. I think that, you know, I think that works. And also because of the Matt Cardona connection, I can see Chelsea Green being in the women's. That sort of fits too, you know, depending on their Impact contracts, whatever's going on with that. Maybe right, maybe wrong. Could be none of those people, but hopefully we get a good Rumble out of it. And I think we will because of the story that's already there. I think we have three main picks in my head. One that has literally almost been advertised and, you know, called since the day he debuted. Or especially
I'm staring at his neck tattoo.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Like literally, I'm staring at a picture. He's looking at me with those husky eyes, spiky blonde bleach tips, and I'm looking at that tattoo and I'm thinking, you know what, man? You just had a lot of time off. You should have started some tattoo removal process during that time.
I kind of like it now. I'm all right with it. I've grown quite fond.
I'm looking at the picture right now, and it's he didn't have to.
He didn't have to do it. He could have put it. He just should have put it somewhere else.
Put it on your bicep or shoulder.
It should have been on the pec that's all injured. Is what it should have been. It should have just been right there, like rather than on the neck.
This is like, especially if you're not a tattoo guy.
Yeah. No, it's just no.
This is
it looked dumb.
Bold move.
I would have. Yeah, he's got Dream on one pack. He can do the Nightmare Family on the other. That would have worked. That would have been okay.
Yeah,
but. Yeah, the next kind of dumb. I with all of the packages, with the build, with everything they've been doing, he is the obvious choice, and I think that was the.
But he doesn't need to,
and that's why I am like so kind of like ooh, like I.
Is this like a Bryan Daniels moment?
Yes, I think it's close to that. I don't think anybody's gonna be mad though. If Cody wins, we'll be like, yeah, okay, cool.
Bryan?
Like,
sorry.
right. But there's two other options. The other one would be Seth Rollins, who is that one to me is actually.
I would like to see him take a title off Roman. It could work.
It could very much work with how over he is as well. I think it would be unexpected, and that is the kind of like dice roll that you have with that one. And then I would put him third in line as probability.
Yeah.
Putting second in line to one Sami Zayn. And maybe it wasn't the original plan a couple months ago, but I guarantee you they've seen this groundswell of support. They've seen how over he is. And I don't know that he has been entered in the Royal Rumble yet. I think we find that out on the night. and that
Yeah.
Sami Zayn probably has to enter at number 1. And one after one after one do the job until Cody comes out later in the Rumble, probably midway through the pack. Seth's probably coming out like in there, like after that, so that you can have the big showdown with Seth and Cody and Sammy will just have to use his cunning and heart to get to the final 4. I'm going to go ahead and do the bold prediction. Duncan is going with Cody.
I'm going with Sammy.
But I'm going with Sami Zayn. And I don't know that... I mean, both of us are predicting somebody who's not even technically entered in the Rumble yet, as far as we know. And I don't know that I would have picked that before this last segment, this Raw Triple X segment. I don't know that I would have done that same pick. I was going closer and closer towards Sammy over time.
Yeah.
But this is just kind of, and I'm still 50-50. In my gut, I kind of don't think I'm right. I do think they probably still go the logical route and go with Cody. But hey, if you predicted all the same things as Duncan, you're never going to win. So this was your one deviation. I've got 2. That could go really great for me or really, really poorly. But, you gotta roll the dice sometimes and just see what happens. And let's not forget, Brock Lesnar's in this Rumble. Bobby Lashley's in this Rumble. I don't think either of them win that Rumble, but they're going to have an impact. They're going to take a lot of people out. They're going to have a big impact, and hopefully it's basically the 2 of them as behemoths taking each other out. I think that's kind of why that's there. That's part of the story.
Like they do a double takeout.
Yep.
Like one of them clotheslines another one against the
and
ropes. They both
they
go
wrap
out.
over.
There's too much weight. It's physics.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
something
physics.
like that. Something
Basic.
like that would make a lot of sense. I don't know. I don't have many more speculative thoughts or analysis of what I think is going to happen, at the Rumble, given what we've been seeing.
I'm
on
excited
Raw and
for it, though.
SmackDown. I am. I was going to actually ask you that question. Last year's was really pretty weak, man. We had, was it Rousey and Brock, right? Were the winners?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and I've told
weak.
you before, I've said this on the podcast before that I think I'm not the biggest fan of Rumbles because
they're kind of lame matches.
I mean, they're very lame matches. I just don't like just people holding on to the ropes, like hug it. It's just I like the surprises and I like it for what it is. Like I like it for what it is, but it takes so long. And when you add a women's and a men's, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have a women's, and I'm not saying you shouldn't have a men's, I'm saying you should have, but they are very long with the 90 seconds in between or whatever. Then you have the entrances.
It's just a lot of people over there punching each other in the corner, like for 30 minutes. Like if you if you do them right and you tell stories, you can make them interesting. And that's what they need to do. Is they still will have to have that crap in the corners, but you can tell good stories. You can have this.
Although,
go ahead, sorry.
You know why Duncan might win?
Why is that?
With his Cody call?
Yeah.
So, you've seen footage. I was front row at Royal Rumble 2002.
Uh-oh.
And
I remember. I've seen you in the crowd.
What happened? What happened? And who won Royal Rumble 2002?
I don't fucking remember.
Triple H, and he came back from a pectoral injury.
Ah, yes, I've heard others refer to this as well. It's almost the same
because I was there
build.
And I was screaming. You can watch videos screaming at fucking Stone Cold. my long ass hair. I was using a camera hanging around my neck. Borrowed my dad's camera because we didn't have them on cell phones. I don't even think I had a cell phone at the time in 2002.
No,
Totally
definitely
different
not.
time. Screaming at Stone Cold right before fucking Triple H comes out.
So were you a Triple H guy or a Stone Cold guy?
A fucking Stone Cold guy, dude.
All right, yeah.
I stood in line for 8 hours to meet him earlier that day.
Wow. And Triple H, if I'm not mistaken.
And I'm looking at here. Right above this, I got my autographed Stone Cold fucking Steve Austin right here.
Who's he got there? The Rock? He's got The Rock there?
No, that's not The Rock.
I can't see it.
Come on.
I can't see who he's got. Oh, that's good old Farouk. I call him Farouk.
Ron Simmons.
Well, he was Farouk in that picture.
Yeah, he was Farouk in that picture. He's in the Nation.
Yeah, goddamn right. Tell that.
Yeah, but it hangs up right up there.
Love it.
I've got a lot of wrestling memorabilia. I got an autographed Mankind over here. He says, "Hi, Matthew. Have a nice day."
I like that. Do you? So that's good though that we still have some enthusiasm for the guy, the old Rumble. You know, because it always used to get me excited. And it's nice this year. It's on a Saturday too. Like I'm really.
We talked about this.
Remember we talked about. I'm into this whole Saturday pay-per-view thing.
I'm into it too.
Yeah, it's working out. I think we need to continue this.
We didn't talk about some of the. I'm sorry, and we don't have to go back through, but we never talked about who from NXT might come up on the men's side, like Braun Breaker.
Braun's probably coming up. Grimes,
like at least for the Rumble, right?
Yeah, Cameron Grimes will
did
be
you see
in there.
What do you think of that video? The Grayson, was it Grayson?
Oh, the fake beatdown at the PC.
That was the fake. It was
that.
Yeah,
it's lame. I didn't really.
Yeah,
I saw it. It was what it was.
Yeah.
They'll pull up they'll pull like Axiom in there or someone like that. Like, oh, look at this guy. Like, yeah, maybe they could probably throw Grayson Waller in there, or Rey Mysterio is probably going to be in there. Fucking Dom Mysterio is probably going to be in there. Damian Priest is probably going to be in there. It'll further storylines with that whole deal too. Like, I hope this might even be a catalyst.
What if Vince McMahon comes out as number 30? No chance in hell plays, and he comes out and he fucking wins.
I want Vince McMahon in a luchador mask in full gear, and you can definitely tell it's him, but he refuses to. Like, he's.
And his name's like
El Vinco or something.
Vincento Minor or something like that.
Yeah, I like that. I think, and he's just got like
Hefe Vincente
dollar signs on his like on his singlet. You know, he's wearing a singlet with just dollar signs. Yeah, it's good stuff. Speaking of him,
well, we will also see. I will be tracking tomorrow night our list from last podcast because we did come up to see who was going to have the most number of Rumble contestants. Remember, we did our just straight up 15 for 15. So I will track that tomorrow night too.
Please do. As long as you send me that list of all the people that we thought of during that time. It's about time that we wrap things up, but since we were just talking about Vince, I did want to mention one quick thing before we get out of here, and that was a little story from Jake the Snake Roberts podcast. I read some transcripts of something he was talking about earlier today or yesterday or whatever his latest podcast was out. Go check that out. Credit to that. But you ever heard of the curse of the baby blues?
No.
So it's one of Vince's like things, apparently. When he knew he was going to fire someone or they were leaving the company, he would, or on their way out, so is the way he put it. Not firing, but yeah, they're stop using you probably pretty soon type thing. Vince would come to you and basically be like, big plans, love you, you're like family. Got a bit of a gimmick change we want you to try. And every time he would put the talent in a baby blue pair of tights. And you can see it over and over and over and over
Really?
again. It's apparently like the Vince curse that over time the talent got to know that if you got told you're wearing the baby blues, your time wasn't long for the company. Jake even says that it happened to him. And if you remember, I remember a period where Jake was in green for the longest time. And then he did. Like, I also remember, I think I remember.
I don't remember
him
the blue.
in baby blues. So just look out for that if you're watching any old WWF from back in the day. It's not a tradition that really exists anymore per se, but back in sort of, I would guess new generation and prior eras. That's when you're gonna. That's probably where you're gonna find that. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting that Jake shared that, and I thought it was funny. Also, let's just have a good laugh at the fact that, God damn it, WWE, you just learned about Bang Bros, and Sheamus and McIntyre. I think they were just having fun. They knew the whole time. We're the Banger Bros.
Yeah.
And they finally
putting on bangers.
Yeah. And I think
how funny would it have been if they had gotten like a little like van and they're like, we call it the Bang Van.
I think they were going in that direction, and somehow WWE was like, no guys, okay, we figured it out finally.
That's how you debut Mandy Rose coming back to the company.
Maybe not. Thank you though for listening to this week's Wrestling podcast. You know, we have two parts of it. There's an AEW portion, there's a WWE portion. I'm not saying we're doing that every week. It just happened to be.
And there's some Japanese wrestling mixed in the middle.
Oh, there's always some Japanese mixed in the middle, my friend. That's the way we like it. Anyway, we'll leave you be for this week until we do another. And Matthew, what do we say, my little buttercup, when we get out of here?